Hello and welcome to a special edition Happy Midnight stream video thing. It's not live, but it'll be on the YouTube channel. I'm joined by the boys today because we have a little special project going here. I've been getting into the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance recently, and as we know, all the devices are terrible. The original Game Boy has no backlight, Game Boy Color, no backlight, Game Boy Advance, no backlight, Game Boy Advance SP, got a backlight. It's fucking terrible. Thinking in your head, it's way worse than you remember. Moving on from there, the DS plays Game Boy Advance games, doesn't play Game Boy Color. So what do? You have a friend that can mod it for you. Keaton, can you tell us what we're getting into tonight?
Yeah, today, so Colin sent me this beautiful Game Boy Advance, gorgeous condition. Kind of a shame. We're not going to be using anything but the motherboard out of this thing. But if you don't mind, I'll probably keep all the rest of the pieces. You know, might be able to do something with that in the future. But I've done a couple of Game Boy modding projects. So this will be something I have done before. Here's one that I built for myself recently.
Incredible.
My webcam is incredibly shitty, so it's going to be super washed out. You can't really see just how gorgeous the screen is, but it's great.
I can still see it. Even through a webcam, it looks better than a Game Boy.
I'd rather play on this screen through a webcam than the original Game Boy screen. Another cool thing that this has is USB-C charging. So we're going to be doing that as well. There's a little LiPo battery in there and just a little board to control the charging. And then we are also going to put in some clicky trigger buttons because the trigger buttons on that original GBA are not great. So we got a few of these. I don't know if you'll really be able to see them, but
think like a mechanical keyboard, right? The switches underneath the mechanical keyboard.
Right. And did I turn off? So normally I use NVIDIA Broadcast to do the noise removal. I am turning that off right now. And it'll probably be off for the rest of the video.
ASMR?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get some nice ASMR sounds in here.
Oh!
Woo! Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's some good stuff. Little bag crinkling for you. So, yeah. You might notice that there are 4 in here because I got 2 for myself for this guy. I'll be putting him in here. Yeah, what else? Another big one is the glass screen lens. So the lens is actually black. Or sorry, glass. You can see mine is not black. It's actually white with like this iridescent Game Boy logo on it. They got all different kinds of colors and stuff for those. I forget which one you got, Colin. Is this just like...
I bought the most basic possible, so it should just be tempered glass with the basic S logo.
Yeah, it looks like a silver logo here, but that's in bubble wrap there. We got that. We have a little mounting bracket for the actual LCD itself. They also included a keychain, Handheld Legend, a site that we got most of this stuff from. And here's the battery and also the special battery cover with the USB-C sized hole in it.
You don't do any dremeling or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and get a nasty like jagged edge on your cut. I see a lot of those, and it's just a shame when people can't get like looking really nice and everything else looks beautiful, and then you just have this one like jagged cut hole, like dremeled hole on it. It's a shame. We have the screen kit here. So in here is the screen and all the supporting bits and bobs, adhesive, some wires. We'll be soldering a couple wires so that you can control the brightness. It has, I think, 5 brightness levels. So you can hold the select button and press L and R to move the brightness up and down. The screen itself, of course, and then an actual ribbon cable with some microcontrollers on it. We got the buttons. Got some nice blue buttons.
I decided to go color scheme Happy Midnight. So the shell is going to be purple. There it is.
Happy Midnight.
And then the buttons are going to be blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be...
For the brand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Yeah, I like the shell a lot. It's actually a white shell. You can see underneath that is painted.
Weird.
And the paint has this cool like soft feel texture to it that they didn't really advertise on the site. Feels really nice though. It's like almost a velvety kind of texture on it. I like it.
Can you rub that into the microphone a little bit for me, please?
Oh yeah, baby.
I want to hear the texture. Velvety.
Oh yeah.
Excellent.
And then they also usually include one of these stickers. It's not like actually trying to be official. It does say retro6.co.uk, the company that made the shell.
I read some confusing information that like maybe it's the shell that says Nintendo, but I guess some of the shells used to say Retro 6 as well. I don't know the specifics of that.
This one does have the usual Nintendo. You're not going to be able to see it.
These damn webcams.
Yeah, I need to get a better one. I need to get a fucking DSLR like Johnny or something like that. But it looks just like the Nintendo logo that's on the original, except there's the word "for" vertically, so it says "for Nintendo."
Interesting. Must be a copyright thing that they can get away with that slight change there.
Probably a copyright thing because it looks so similar to the original logo. It is a bit wider. I'm comparing them here now. It's a little bit wider. The font's a little bit bigger, but it otherwise looks exactly the same except with the word "for" there. Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, dude, I was just blown away with the support that they show for this. There are multiple websites dedicated to this for both the regular Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. And it's all this pre-made stuff. It doesn't seem that difficult to do, and that's not me downgrading the skills of what you're doing here. I didn't want to do it myself. I only have minimal soldering skills, and I rather have it done nicely. But just totally blown away with the support that they have.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. There are, like you said, multiple sites dedicated just to this particular very niche hobby. I mentioned Handheld Legend. There's also retro modding, which is where we got... Was it the buttons? I think the buttons are from retro modding.
Yes. Most of the stuff was from Handheld Legend.
Yeah, most of it was. There are a bunch of people, like community people, who have started making buttons and like started selling them through their own sites. So that's like a bit more of a specialty thing, it seems. But some people get really into molding really cool patterns and colors, like opal and pearlescent things, or like galaxy style buttons with like some real depth to them. Some really cool stuff out there. There's another site called Rose Colored Gaming, and there are people who just mod and sell. Lot of it's a booming community. I first got into it about 5 years ago, where it wasn't nearly what it is today. My first mod was I put a Game Boy Advance SP, the 101 model that's actually backlit, not the front lit model, but the backlit one. I took that LCD. That's the one.
It's an 001. Thing sucks.
Oh, that's an 001. Okay. And they someone made it an adapter ribbon cable that you could connect the SP screen into the original AGB 001. So that was my first mod that I did like 5 years ago.
Is this before the LCD screens existed?
Yes, I think so.
Or at least were popular, right?
Yeah, and were just like generally available. I mean, there was enough support in the community, I think, that if they were available, someone could have made it work. I don't know. I'm not really sure how it works, but I know for like TVs and computer monitors, there's like 3 big panel manufacturers out there. LG being one of them. I forget the other 2. But basically, if you have like a BenQ like I do, or one of many other brands, Samsung is another manufacturer. But most of the other ones, they build the monitor, but they don't actually manufacture the panel. So they buy the panel from, Samsung or LG or whoever the third one is that I can't remember.
Capitalism is weird, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, they just like sell all of them like just white label to these companies, and then they, you know, build everything around it. You know, the supporting PCBs and the actual frame and the shell and the stand and all that, and sell that. So I assume the Game Boy LCDs are similar, where they just kind of found someone who's manufacturing, like mass producing something already that just happens to fit like the size and power requirements and everything, and are repackaging them. I don't actually know. I'm kind of talking out my ass here. That's my assumption. Someone finally found one that works.
Yeah, they're clearly not made for Game Boy Advance, right? They've found they were doing something else. I wonder if it is for like screens or like a PDA-esque device or whatever, but they're fairly readily available.
Yeah, they're usually available on those various sites that I mentioned. Some certain parts are kind of hard to find sometimes. Certain specialty things, like I finally was able to get my hands on one of these that I've been trying to get since last year. Look at this thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, happen to be drinking one right now, but yeah.
Wow.
Finally grabbed one of these. So excited about it because they do these in like limited runs of like 50.
That's the original Game Boy, the big fat boys.
Yep.
Cool. I've never had one of those before.
Me either. My brother had one growing up, and then got the Game Boy Color, and we basically never looked back at it. But this will be my first one on my own. Haven't modded one yet. This will be my third Game Boy Advance mod. I've done an SP. I've done Game Boy Color that I've got right here. That's backlit.
Oh, wow, the screen is huge.
Yeah, it's gigantic. I haven't done a Pocket either, but yeah, so I'm kind of working my way backwards.
That's fun, dude. You should sell them. Like, you should like buy distressed Game Boy Advances, mod them, and sell them. That'd be a booming market.
Would be fun.
A lot of people don't have a Keaton. You know, everybody needs a Keaton.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've minorly thought about it, but there are so many people out there who do that already, who are just doing a better job, that I'm kind of just leaving it to them for now. You know, there's tons of people out there, and a lot of them, you know, do kind of shoddy work. I've seen where like the really big names out there will get sent one that was modded by someone else who didn't know what they were doing, and they'll just like point out all the flaws and be like basically justifying why you pay the premium to
Are you
get
talking
one
about
from.
Voltar is his name?
I'm not familiar with that name.
Okay, yeah, Voltar is the guy who specifically does that. His website, and it's not in the most nice fashion. He just likes to talk about how great he is. But he's just like,
Cool.
Look at this soldering. This fucking asshole almost ruined this shit. What the fuck?
No,
But it's
I
pretty
don't
great.
see a ton of that. The Game Boy modding community is pretty friendly in general, at least the side of it that I see, like on Instagram. That's where I follow most of it. But there's this, probably the biggest name in like selling modded Game Boys is Game Changer Mods. This guy Greg Farrell, and I think his brother works with him. But it's mostly Greg, and he's like all over the Instagram and TikTok, and you know, doing the social media side, but also, you know, just running the Etsy shop, and you know, from all accounts, just doing a hell of a job, doing really high quality mods. And then I saw like one time someone sent him one that they had someone else do, and he was just like pointing out all the issues, and in a nice way. He's a seems like a good guy. He doesn't put on a, you know, like tough guy persona or anything.
I guess you are taking on a fair amount of risk when you take this, right? Game Boy
Yeah.
Advances aren't cheap. I mean, the whole market's still fucked up, but
Yeah.
these used to sell for $40, and now they're like $100, even for just the base model.
Now they're 40 for a broken one. I was just looking at them on eBay. I managed to find a DMG for 25, and I just took that one without
That
even
fucks
like
me-
making
fucks me
another
up, by
offer,
the
because
way.
they were all like 40 or 50 bucks for broken ones. I'm just like, what the hell's going on? There's
I don't
100
like-
million of these out there. Like, why are people charging
Well, exactly.
$50?
I mean, the internet ruined everything because everybody can just look it up and sees one selling for $100. Now that's selling for $100. The DMG label fucks me up though, because that means damage, right? So I see all these Game Boy listings for DMG. I'm like, why is it damaged? Why am I buying damaged things? This is crazy. And then I learned that that's just the model like AGB or AGS or whatever.
Yep. Dot matrix game is what DMG stands for. But
look at that.
If you want to find a broken one, you have to search as is or 4 parts.
Right.
Those are the keywords that you use.
So is AGB Advanced Graphics Boy? Did I nail it? And then
I
AGS
assume Advanced Game Boy and AGS is, I don't know.
Advanced Graphics Sexy?
Sure. Yeah.
Sexy Light? I don't know.
Nailed it.
But thank you for doing this, by the way. I'm very excited to do this. I've been amassing a collection of Game Boy games that I have not allowed myself to play.
You got 2 of those? Holy shit.
I need a third, Keaton. They're full. These are cool. These are official Nintendo Game Boy binders. It's like a sports card thing, but it's pockets for the Game Boy games, and they seal real nice. So check this out. This shit ain't going nowhere. Nice. But so as Keaton was working here, I figured we'd just chat about some Game Boy games, what we have played, enjoyed, and what we're looking forward to in the future. Hey, John, how you doing, bud?
I thought about how long I should commit to the bit. I thought about how long I should just not fucking say anything. I'm happy to be here.
I was really trying to. I didn't introduce you guys. So I mean, Keaton's the star of this show.
For sure.
You're not going to see my face the rest of the video, though, so it's fine.
You're part of the brand. So I'll throw it to you. What is your favorite Game Boy game? Even from childhood, whatever, any Game Boy game.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the very obvious answer for me would be the Zelda games. Link's Awakening specifically, which I think Keaton had my copy of Link's Awakening from maybe like 2 decades.
Sounds about
fucking
right.
Thief.
At least one. At least one.
Yeah.
Good.
But I remember, I mean, at least my biggest memories with the Game Boy have largely been the Zelda games, Oracle of Seasons, Ages, and of course Link's Awakening. But beyond that, and that's kind of like why I'm excited to just simply be an audience member to this tonight. Very beautiful, Colin. What does it say on there? Swamp? Stump?
This is Michael Stump's copy of
That's
Link's Awakening.
Stump's copy, bro.
Shout out to Michael Stump. This is Michael Stump's Game Boy Advance Sp. I bought it from him in high school for $45.
No shit. Yeah, I mean, as I was saying, I don't have many memories with the Game Boy as a console, despite having one when I was a kid. But genuinely, just it's actually a pretty big gap in my knowledge. So I'm excited to go through the games that you have in your beautiful little binder there, Tev, and see what has lit you up either nostalgically or presently. And yeah, just run through some of the favorites and such, because genuinely, I don't know, and that's curious to me as a huge gamer. You know what I mean?
So what drew me in this direction, I think the most important thing that drew me in the direction, as we talked about earlier, the market is fucking bonkers now. Games that cost $10 to $20 for a decade are now $100. You can't buy a goddamn Silent Hill game for under $100. Silent Hill 2 is $120. Silent Hill Origins is over $100.
No way, that's wild.
Silent Hill Downpour is over $50.
What the fuck?
And that was like a $3 game for a decade. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So you just can't collect anymore unless you're paying premium prices.
Right.
That has not affected the
there.
Game Boy. Why? It's crazy. It just hasn't affected the Game Boy. For example, and a game we may be talking about in the future, Castlevania the Adventure. $15. It's $15.
15, no way.
I think I got mine even cheaper because I got a Japanese copy, and for whatever reason, Japanese games are just always so much cheaper.
Oh, well, there's no text in that game. That would absolutely be fine to
Yeah,
import.
yeah. So I saw that, and I was like, yeah, sure. I'll be reading shit.
Flipping through here, the Zelda games are a little bit expensive, but they've kind of always been. Those are probably $30 or $40
Yeah,
per.
for sure.
Pokemon games are crazy expensive, but the first generation isn't that bad.
Oh, duh. I can't believe I didn't mention Pokemon games. Obviously, those were literally some of my first video games ever.
That's a running theme on the podcast. I was editing a podcast episode, and the game was all about, don't forget about Pokemon. It's clearly the best-selling game of all time.
Yep.
So the price really drew me into it, and then it was also a huge blind spot for me, and that's something I've always enjoyed with retro games is just picking a platform and seeing if you can get the like 10 to 20 best games for it.
Sure.
And just see if it's worth it. I always think there's at least 10 to 20 games on each console that's worth it. And for the channel, I've been playing through Metroid 2, and that game fucking kicks ass. And I just...
Does it? Have you beaten it yet, Tev?
I'm very close. I have 8 Metroids
Awesome.
left, so I probably have an episode or 2.
Cool.
But it just... I think you just discredit it because it's like the small handheld platform, and obviously the technology didn't get there until like the Game Boy Advance level. But just like you don't think Atari there can't be like good worthwhile games on Atari, and for some people the NES is too far back. But there's just some truly like crazy examples of what they can do with it. We'll have to keep skipping over Castlevania the Adventure, but I did want to hop back to the Zeldas. So you definitely prefer Link's Awakening over the other two?
I think so. And
I think I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not to discredit the other two in any way, because I think like genuinely they're all very, very fun. Link's Awakening is just special. It's just it's telling a special story. It operates in a very special way. It's dark. It's weird. It's cool.
Weird Nintendo.
Yeah.
That was when
Weird
they
Nintendo.
like allowed themselves to be odd. And while we're talking about this, Ages and Seasons were made by Capcom. How fucked up is that?
How fucked up is that? Yeah, yeah. In what world? In what fucking world? It's crazy.
They gave their flagship series to I mean, Capcom's Capcom, right? They've been killing it for decades at that point. But I do think that's wild.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably pretty fucking exciting for Capcom at the time. Like imagine Nintendo says, "Here, actually make like canon Zelda games. Go ahead." That's a crazy business deal.
That is crazy. Another podcast I was listening to was doing a Seasons playthrough, and they brought up something I didn't even notice, that apparently Ages is supposed to be a puzzle game and Seasons is supposed to be an action game. Did any of you get that sense as you were going through it?
I did have a kind of tough time as a kid I had a tough time with both of them. I got a guide for it, but Ages I never even finished because I was convinced that I got locked, like hard locked into an area, and I couldn't get out. Because the shit you had to do to like, jump back and forth through time, and then to get through a certain area, I was just convinced that there was no actual way through, like even out for me. I was probably just a dumb 12-year-old could figure it out, but. Yeah, I totally see that. I mean, with that being my most prescient memory of that. Prescient, that's not the right word. But that's...
Sounded good.
That's like... that's the memory that I think of associated with that game. And I've been waiting to play through those until I finished this Game Boy Color, and now I did. So I'm just putting it off at this point. But
I think that's spot on. And I played these games when I was a little bit older, but I was still like 15, 16. And I don't think my game critic brain was developed enough to research that. I do remember struggling with Ages a little more. But it's just interesting, and man, these games are fascinating. So they were released on the same day.
Right.
In the style of a Pokemon Red, Blue,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But except these were entirely different games. It
Completely
seems
different games, yeah.
pretty
it's
wild.
crazy.
Yeah.
Mixed messaging.
They're originally
right?
going to do 3.
Yeah. That's what I was going to get into. I don't know what the idea was for the third one, but that got scrapped. Talk about outscoping yourself. Making 3 full Zelda Game Boy games. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, fucking Capcom saw an opportunity on their hands. They fucking ran with it. But like also like there is a certain expectation if you want to see like actual canon ending that you have to play both. And like you have to like link save files in some particular type of way. I'm not exactly sure of the actual mechanics of that. But then only
neither.
once you see both of those games through to the end, then you get the true ending. And I think you actually fight Ganon because the boss, the main villains in both of those games are not Ganon. I'm pretty sure it's Onyx and someone else. I think
And Twinrova.
And Twinrova, yeah.
Wow.
And then like you fell them in their respective games, and then like you link the save files somehow, and then you get like a true ending with Ganon. Pretty wacky stuff, pretty ambitious stuff from that project, I gotta say.
I love to see them jumping out and doing shit like that. I love anything
Yeah, it's
weird
super
like
cool.
that.
It's super cool.
I fucked it up somehow. I've played both of those games. You just replaced the
Keaton.
batteries there, Keaton?
No, I did not yet.
Yeah, mine's still holding on. For those games, I played them both. I beat them both, but I had somehow fucked up the passwords and I couldn't see the ending. Like, I don't know if something happened where I didn't like pass it on to the second game properly, but it's all password based, and it just wouldn't let me in.
No shit.
I don't even think there's a way you can like cheat around it, like grab a password offline or something. There was something that has. So I'm willing to do anything to work around shit. I remember tons of PC games where I've spent 2 hours hex editing a save file just to fix my game or whatever.
Heck yeah, dude.
But I never got to see the ending of those games.
Yeah. But those are definitely the most, powerful memories for me, at least with the Game Boy. A question that I do have, so like the importance of playing Game Boy games in 2021 on original hardware, obviously addended hardware, because all of the ascended elements of these mods that you guys are doing and such is going to elevate the game experience. But like, I'm thinking about now, just literally last week, having played through Castlevania the Adventure on the Switch, which obviously isn't original hardware or anything like that. Like, I noticed that I wasn't playing on original hardware, and I kind of wish that I had been. You know what I mean? So like how much of your guys' present endeavors in this space is to actually play this on intended hardware? Like, how important is that to you guys? Like, explain yourselves.
Well, if I could move my camera back here, I would show you thousands of dollars worth of console and a $1,000 television that I care about very deeply playing on original hardware.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's obviously just a passion, and I do think it's just cool. And I'm really excited just to lock in this Game Boy. So this will be the ultimate Game Boy. I mean, maybe in 10 years there'll be like a 3 times better screen or something. This will be a Game Boy that'll play Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, backlit screen. You don't have to use AA batteries anymore. You just charge it via a PC or a USB charger. So it's really interesting to lock it in there. So
I'm waiting for the Bluetooth mod. That's all I need at this point.
For like a controller hookup?
For like
Bluetooth
headphones
audio.
Yeah.
Audio, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, hook up some headphones. But yeah, I mean, we're getting pretty close to like perfecting the hardware at this point. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty big for me too, playing on original hardware. I've got a Super Nintendo hooked up to a CRT in my apartment. I don't know, it just feels right playing a game like that. Playing a game on like the Switch Classic thing, like a Super Nintendo game, NES game is cool. It's great to be able to do that. But if I have access to play it on original hardware, I would prefer that. Some games just look better on a CRT, like we talked about. Donkey Kong before.
I mean, I think CRT, is a particular type of example, but I do think that there's something just natively not inconvenient might not be the right word, but it's not necessarily.
It's the right word.
Well, like, yeah, then maybe we'll run with that. / just not necessarily immersive. Playing on a Game Boy, where just like like if I can play it on my TV on my Switch or something like that, it's just infinitely more engaging to me as an audience member in 2021. So like it seems as if you guys are coveting something else. Like it seems as if the authenticity of the experience is more important than the immersion of the experience, or something like that. So, Colin, can you speak to that at all?
For Game Boy specifically, it's a little bit different than like say Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis emulation. And this is something you might be familiar with. If you play a Game Boy Color game on a Game Boy Advance, you can hit the shoulder buttons to stretch it out.
For sure.
And that's something you probably did as a child. I did as a child as well, because I didn't understand aspect ratios.
Sure.
But that is a fucking nightmare. And again, this is probably talking about stuff you don't remember if you don't have a Game Boy Color, but the Game Boy Color screen is incredibly small.
Yeah, it's super tiny.
If you're blowing that up to even like a television monitor or a computer monitor, it just does not look the same.
Yeah.
Plus, support is a thing. So the Castlevania collection exists on Switch, but there isn't a Zelda collection on Switch as well.
Sure.
And then you're going to emulation, which of course is the answer. I'm not getting into like an ethics discussion. I emulate stuff whenever I need to. I just prefer having the thing. And it's a collection aspect as well. I like having my fancy Game Boy binders. It's definitely not the smartest or cheapest way to go, but I enjoy the authenticity. And then, as I talked about, I think the biggest for me is the screen size. So I can actually have the Game Boy Color be the proper thing. And then if it's going to be that small, you need to have it on a handheld so you can shove it in your fucking face.
Right.
Yeah, I agree in the authenticity aspect. yeah, blowing it up on a big screen, emulating on your computer or playing on a Game Boy player or something, it never feels quite right. Those games are built to be played in your hands, and the big chunky pixels and everything reflect that. And I would actually push back against what you said, Johnny, about the immersion aspect. I do get fully immersed in a handheld game, even on a tiny ass Game Boy screen, if I'm really into the game itself. The same way you would get into a book. Like everything else just kind of fades away, and like you're in that zone. It doesn't really matter how like small the screen is, how much of your vision it's actually filling. Like if I'm really in the zone in that game, then I don't think about whatever else is going on around me. And for that reason, I actually don't really take my Game Boys anywhere, because I don't really like playing games out in public very much. I actually will just sit on my couch. Yeah, I'll just sit on my couch and play a Game Boy game. As a kid, I would have the TV on or something, but nowadays, I'll literally just sit there in a silent apartment with just my little Game Boy and a little tiny speaker, making sounds.
I mean, heck, I don't even take my fucking Switch out of my house, even when I'm playing handheld.
Well, we're fucking adults. What are we? There's literally the only portability was like kids on car rides and stuff. I mean, if you had a work commute, you would take it portable. But yeah, I'm the same way. It's not even a handheld. It's just another console at this point. It's just another platform that has its own exclusive games that you have access to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I do think, just to maybe close the loop on your point there, Keaton, I definitely absolutely feel what you're saying 100% in terms of just your ability to engage with the space, small screen notwithstanding. I do think with the Game Boy specifically, though, in terms of player engagement, it feels like the link between player and actual implement of play is lighter than most other examples, meaning like literally you have very few buttons at your disposal. The audio isn't really there. And, small screen size also kind of being thrown in there as well. It just feels like the ability for this toy specifically to engage you as an audience member feels lighter than most others. Do you know what I mean?
Hello, I would like to jump in here and refute everything you just fucking said, you Game Boy hater.
I'm just exploring ideas, baby. That's it. Let's hear it.
John, a.k.a. the Devil's Advocate.
That's what he's here for.
Game Boy Advances have headphone ports on them. So this fancy Sony MDR 7506s, I stick them into the Game Boy Advances, and they sound amazing. This past year, like 3 out of my 4 favorite soundtracks have been Game Boy Color games.
Yeah.
You remember the Pokemon trading card game we talked about on the first episode of the podcast? Is fucking incredible. And that is crazy immersive. You're right. It's much more toy-like when it's playing out of like the single mono speaker at the bottom left. But when you put the heads on, it's doing stereo. It's doing the whole thing. You're just in your own world like that. Plus, another tangentially related point I wanted to bring up is I've always felt with emulators you're less likely to play the game, and that is some human mental shit. There's no real reason, but if you own the game, you're way more likely to play it than
certainly.
What you do is you download the whole Game Boy library of ROMs, and you're like, this is great, I'll play them all, and then you never play a single one of them.
Yeah, and I think even extending further beyond that, like I even think about just analog versus digital in general. The amount of times I just see a fucking digital sale on Steam or on PSN or something like that, I'm just like, fuck yeah, downloaded, never play. There is something seemingly expendable or I don't know, less valuable about that experience than like actually having the thing in your hand. I certainly empathize with that for sure.
Like an inarguable fact. It's just some weird psychological shit, right?
Weird human stuff for sure.
Yeah. I have thousands of Steam games I've never played. Whoops.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm having a hell of a time with this fucking trigger.
Yeah, Keith, why don't you describe, update what's going on there, bro? What are you working on there?
Yeah, so I'm trying to put the clicky triggers in, and this is something that I always have trouble with. When there's a component that's soldered on in multiple points, it's really hard to get off because they're all solid, and you can't really move it until they're all like free. You know what I mean? So like this has 4. See the trigger here. If my fucking camera would focus.
The black is the existing one. The little nubby there.
Yeah. So the little trapezoid shape of the 4 different things coming through right here, those are all attached to the trigger. So you have to get all of those out. and I like have removed most of the solder. The top two especially seem pretty clear, but the bottom two are really anchoring it in there, and I'm having a tough time getting it out. And I think this is one of those areas where, as you get more experience with soldering, when I hear people talk about soldering, it's so weird. Like, you think it's like just a skill that you can learn, but people talk so much about, like, you just kind of gain an intuition for it. You just kind of get a feeling, and you just know. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is like, I don't know. It's like it's a weird art form.
Yeah, it is. It's like the weirdest thing, man. I only briefly messed around with soldering I was trying to replace save batteries on Super Nintendo cartridges, and I'm not good at it, like I said previously, but it's just metal that you heat up and then add more metal or remove metal with heat. And it's just wild. There's like no exact science with it. And then there's all crazy tools. Like you can get a desoldering braid. And then there's like literally gauge of wire for the solder that you're supposed to do. There's flux that makes the solder apply better. It is weird that there's not just like a scientific way to do it.
And that's all stuff that like you learn about when you first start soldering. But like literally just getting your hands dirty and doing it is like, I don't know, a super important thing to just... Like, you can't just read a tutorial. I mean, you can. There are tutorials out there. But, like, they all end the same way. Just like, well, that's kind of the basics, but you just have to start doing it, and you'll kind of start to get more used to it and figure it out. And
the best
like, fucked up Game Boys later.
Yeah, they're like, you're just going to break some stuff. It's fine. Just go forth and break things. It's like, no, I don't want to do that, though. Can I just be perfect at it now? Can I be perfect at it before I ever touch a thing? That would be great. Yeah. So that's another reason why you want to be careful about who you actually buy these things from. Putting a lot of trust in me here, Colin.
Yeah, it's fine. Just break it and I'll fucking kill you. It's fine, man. Trying to show off the Game Boy Advance SP I have here. This is an AGS-001.
Nice.
It looks better than it should through the camera. The backlight is terrible. I'm sorry, this is a front-lit model, the AGS-001. So this is the first Game Boy that actually had a light in it that wasn't just, stick a worm light on it. And I don't know how they didn't figure this out. But they's like, well, just light the front of the screen instead of the back of the screen. So, I mean, you can kind of see it's just bleeding all over there. Mm-hmm. And it's unplayable. Because when I first got some games, I figured I'll just grab this and play some on my Game Boy Advance SP, and it's not doable. Like, it is just horrible. And then you look up YouTube comparisons between the modded version and the worst of the Game Boy Advance screens, and it's just night and day. Not to mention the LCD on the new one is bigger, just slightly. I forget the exact resolution. It's like 340 by 240 or something. But that scales, integer scales off of the previous models there. Keaton, it's okay if you break it. I got another one, actually. When I was trying to acquire these, I acquired 2 Game Boy Advances in the span of one day, mostly by accident.
I mean, I'm about to just cut all these wires and then take these things out one by one.
Keaton, have you tried your teeth?
Damn, I haven't.
Sounds like he burned his
let me put all this lead solder in my mouth. That's a great
that's
idea.
What I'm talking about. We'll just like put heat up your teeth and see if that can get through it better.
Okay, got it. I'm gonna go boil some water real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Actually, I am going to clean the silicon pads real quick and give those time to dry before we have to put those in. They're just like a little dusty. We are going to reuse these from the original system. I actually stopped you from buying new ones for these since the original should work very well, especially because your Game Boy looks like it's barely been used. These will be in great condition still. I will clean up the back of them, the conductive carbon pads on the back. What you can do is just kind of push them against a piece of paper and drag and like draw a line with it. It literally draws a line like a pencil would, and it just kind of cleans up the back of it. Because if you look really close, you can see where the lines on the PCB actually rub off. Like you can see that same pattern on the silicon pad itself. So just get that cleaned up real quick. I got my
Thank you,
headphones
baby.
on, so I'll be able to hear you guys, but I will be back in a couple of minutes.
I did want to mention that is my childhood Game Boy Advance. That is just naked
Wait, no way.
in the wind right there. So the full story is, I bought that myself. My parents slowly funneled me money, and then I bought it with my allowance or whatever. And I played it. I didn't play anything like crazy on it. I didn't have a big library or whatever. And then probably like 2008, I sold it to my father.
Wait, that's amazing.
I believe he gave me $25, which was a pretty good rate back then.
Sure.
He, of course, barely touched it. He had a knee surgery at one point and was out of work for a month, and he played all the way through Lunar Legend.
Wait, what the fuck?
Which is the first Lunar game on Game Boy Advance. It's a full, 30 to 40 hour JRPG. And
Yeah.
he fucking did it, and I've never been more proud of him. Shout out, Dad.
That's delicious, dude. Yeah, heck
If you're
yeah,
out
dude.
there. But so I got it up my ass that I wanted to do this mod, and I was over at my parents for dinner. And I just brought it up, and he's like, "Oh, I got it." And he just brought it out to me, and it was there. That's why it's in great condition. I played it a little bit as a kid, and then it sat in a case for 10 years.
Right, right.
He had some games with it. He had Serious Sam, Game Boy
Nice.
Advance,
Nice.
complete in box. Dynasty Warriors Advance, complete in box. Wolfenstein 3D. You can tell what type of gamer my dad is. Playing those
Sure,
FPSs
sure.
on the Game Boy Advance. And tying that in with the market is fucked up. That Serious Sam game sold for $80. That Wolfenstein
No, it
game
did not.
sold for $40. Yeah, it's all fucked up. You can't buy
Wow.
games anymore. It's not fun.
Dude,
They
what the
ruined
shit?
it. They ruined it. Okay, let me pull out another game here. So the thing is, I've bought all these games, and I haven't played any of them because I'm waiting for the modded Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
You ever play the first Kirby's Dream Land?
Yes, I have. I think I have it. I think I have a card of that back at my parents' house.
I think that's a super interesting one just to see where Hal came from. That's a game
Sure.
where you can't suck in the powers. There's no Kirby in that Kirby game.
Right, right.
You just go through the game. You can suck in the enemies, but you can't swallow them for the powers or whatever.
You just spit out a projectile? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like a little puff of air, which is present
Yeah.
in the rest of the series. But I thought
And
that was
Can't
just
you
interesting.
just fly through most of that game too?
That's the issue with that. There's no limit on the jump. You can just
Yeah,
hover at the top of the
yeah.
screen. I'm looking forward to playing that. My first Kirby game was Kirby's Adventure, though, which I think is a fantastic NES game.
Heck yeah, dude. Heck
I
yeah.
also got Kirby's Pinball Land. I'm a big pinball on Game Boy guy.
Nice.
Very excited. It's the best pinball game I've played on Game Boy so far, just to let you know.
Nice.
This is Gargoyle's Quest, which is in the Demon's Crest. It's a Ghouls and Ghosts spin-off, essentially.
No shit.
This is supposed to be an incredible one. This game is like $30 or $40. Pro tip, check Amazon.com for used Game Boy games. I got that for $15.
Really?
It was great.
Wow.
Already talked about the Zeldas there. Yeah, they're all great. It is kind of weird that there's not more of them. I think the surprising thing when talking about the generations is the Game Boy Color only existed for 2 years total. It came out in '98, and then the Game Boy Advance was already out by, what was it, 2000 or 2001, I think, Keaton?
It sounds right.
So there was just no room, and that was a big generation leap because the only difference between the original Game Boy and the Color was, the color.
Wait, so was the Game Boy Advance, in terms of generational, also in line with the actual home consoles as well? 2000, it was literally in tandem with GameCube coming out and stuff? Was that purposeful?
I don't know if it was purposeful, and they would jump generations. They would just be behind. So I think the Game Boy is considered 8-bit technically. So that would have been 8-bit until 2000, 2001. At that point, the PlayStation 2 is about to come out.
Right.
And then the Game Boy Advance, I think, is technically 32-bit, but was more capable of doing 16-bit looking games.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they would always be behind like that. I don't know if they were trying to brand it launch at the same time, because
Well,
the
they
DS
did
would just
do
come
a
out
lot
at
of.
random times. Go ahead, Keith.
They did a lot of stuff to tie the Game Boy Advance in with the GameCube with the GameCube link cable. If
Excellent
you remember
fucking
Wind
point.
Waker with the Tingle Tuner and
I was gonna say the Tangle Tuner, there's some Animal
and
Crossing
Four
stuff.
Swords and Yeah, and like Pokemon Coliseum, stuff like
well,
that.
The Game Boy Player itself, right? They sold an apparatus.
Right. Yeah.
That now costs $300 if you want to do that.
Crazy.
Jesus.
I'm mad about it. Can you tell?
Is that with or without the disc?
With the disc itself sells for like $105. It's crazy. I have that one though, so get fucked internet. Browsing through, here's another of my pinball, Pokemon Pinball. Still works with the rumble.
Dude, that cartridge is actually nostalgic to me.
Yeah,
like I remember playing the shit out of that. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a really good pinball game where you actually catch Pokemon. There's a certain spot you hit on the alley, and then it's funny because you can't really do anything with pinball. It's just pinball, right? So you summon the Pokemon, you hit it a bunch of times, and it goes caught. There are more complex mechanics that I don't get yet. I'm gonna figure it out. I love the pinball, but you can evolve the Pokemon, and I don't know how that works. But essentially, you can check out your Pokedex, and there's like a whole sub menu of the game. You're essentially supposed to catch them all, as they say.
Yes.
This was the first one I bought. It's called Revenge of the Gator. It is a pinball game.
Of course it is.
This is one of the earliest Game Boy games. Revenge of the Gator. It stars alligators, made by HAL Laboratories. That is one of the earliest HAL games on Game Boy.
What the fuck?
It is pretty good. Here's a little teaser for the future. I bought Sabrina Spooked.
What is that?
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, whoa, no way!
I bought this.
Like a freaking TV show tie-in? What the fuck?
So this is made by a developer I care about a whole bunch, and I can't talk about it yet. So that's a little teaser for you. The developer who made this game I love very much.
Why can't you talk about it? Why can't you talk about it, bro?
It's
what
a
are you
whole
working
thing.
on?
It's a whole thing I prepared for the podcast. It's a whole thing that has changed my life. I found one of my all-time favorite series. I can't talk about it, man. I can't talk about it. Content has to go.
Favorite series?
Yeah, save it, dude. Save it, dude.
Content has to go into content categories. This is Game Boy Land.
Shit.
The funniest tease. Now I just think that you're obsessed with Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
You on that new Netflix series, bro?
No. Is it new?
Is there a new Sabrina? What
I
the
saw
fuck?
it. I didn't know it was new.
I think, I don't know. There's some Sabrina thing going on Netflix, I think.
So I think you're right, because I think the picture is of an old Melissa Joan Hart, and I don't think they would use that to advertise the old series or whatever.
I don't think you're right.
Yeah, I got into a whole thing of researching this unnamed developer. They made money to make their own games by doing licensed titles. So there's a bunch of. They also made a Scorpion King games. You guys remember the Scorpion King, Dwayne the Rock Johnson?
I do remember the Scorpion King. Unfortunately, yes.
Primo high school years. They made a
spin-off
Metroidvania
of a remake movie that then got its own sequels.
Yeah, this is it's called Curse of Osiris. It's actually like a sequel to the movie, and it's only the Game Boy game. But they make these licensed titles that are supposed to be pretty fucking good, actually. And I was curious, and the point is they were $5. So I says I will try this developer's game for $5.
Nice.
Sabrina's. All right, this is Sabrina Zapped. I'm trying to get Sabrina Spooked. But that costs. That one costs $16, so I'm trying to wait to get that under $10 before I pull the trigger on
for
the
sure.
other Sabrina. They also made
the steal.
a Wendy the Witch, which is I guess is a character from Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Oh, for sure.
That one's supposed to be incredible, but that one costs $200.
Jesus
and I'm interested,
Christ.
but I'm not that interested.
Dude, Wendy the Witch, what the fuck?
Last part of this binder here is the
Played
Super
by Hilary
Mario
Duff.
Land.
Nice, that Super Mario Land is so classic.
So it's Super Mario Land, Super Mario Land 2, and then Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land, which has to be the beginning of Nintendo's fucking terrible naming schemes. Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario World 3, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, yeah. So terrible. Those
I've never
Wario
played
Land
those
games, though, are so good. Any of those?
Yeah, that was actually one of the main things that got me into Game Boys. Shout out Retronauts did a whole thing on all the Wario Land series. And they seem really fun. They even credit some of the later ones as like light Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
And it seems quite
They're kind of all like that. From I don't remember 1 so much, but 2 already has it is level based, but the levels are pretty big and sprawling, and with alternate endings and different secrets to find and stuff. And I was having a real hard time finding them all. I've been meaning to go back and actually finish that. Probably gonna replace the battery soon and just start over. But yeah, those games are fucking excellent. I grew up with 1, 2, and 3. I never played 4, but 2 is definitely a fucking banger.
Yeah, I think the first one is a little more just like straight up Mario-esque, but then as they go on, they're as you described there.
Yeah,
Wario Land 2.
Wario Land 2.
Yes.
That game.
I get the black cart
slaps.
because that means it's color enabled versus.
I think that one actually also comes in a gray cart. I think that one's like a weird. You know what the story is with that?
So I think that's what the black cart signifies. Anything that's a black cart is a game that is compatible with both. So the only thing I don't know,
it's like color enhanced.
Right, like the Link's Awakening DX, which I think is what we all had. It's the black cartridge. There's also a gray version of that as well. I think they just do some color enhanced things there, but I'm not sure if every black cartridge also has a gray variant or something. That would be worth looking into. I bought a Wario Land Shake It for Nintendo Wii.
Heck yeah!
I was very excited to try out hopping all the way into the Wario Land action.
Love it, dude.
Haven't played that one.
Same.
I don't really know much about that one. Is that one supposed to be good?
It's not made by Nintendo. It's made by a third-party developer, licensed by Nintendo. It's supposed to be a well-respected developer. I forget who it is. It's like a 7.5 reviewed game, which means some people love it and some people hate it. Let me look that up.
Or most people think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it involves shaking the Wiimote, which everyone loves doing. Just shaking that Wiimote, baby.
Oh yeah, people love that shit.
Who is the developer? The developer is Goodfeel. Do we know who Goodfeel is?
Never heard of him.
No.
Kirby's Epic Yarn.
Okay. What the fuck?
Wario and Luigi Dream Team. Giant Battles. That seems like a partially
Sorry, did you say
thing.
Wario and Luigi? Or Mario and Luigi?
It's Mario and Luigi. I got Wario in the brain, man. I'm talking about the Wario games. My bad.
I was like, whoa, when did that happen? How did I miss that?
What a collab.
So it seems like they do all the Yarn and Woolly World games.
Okay.
Wait, what game are we talking about? Oh, Shake It. Shake It.
Wario Land Shake It.
I'm so excited to gift that
shaking
later.
You shaking
I'm just playing Wii, Mom. I'm just playing Wii.
That's the preferred comedy way to do it, right? Double outs.
yeah, exactly.
Double outs.
Woo! Oh, that's fantastic.
I picked up another game here. Sigma
What's
Star
that, Zebra?
Saga.
And what is Sigma Star Saga, Colin?
It is an Illusion of Gaia-esque RPG mixed with a shoot 'em up. I love shoot 'em ups. It's a kind of a hidden gem RPG made by the Sabrina secret developer. Ding 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 ding.
Hey.
So that was mostly unintentional, but ding 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 ding.
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
I'm sweating
That's
over
amazing.
here. Jesus.
I'm just glad my face isn't on screen for all this.
Oh my god.
But I clearly love that developer so much I had to buy all of their games.
Yeah.
All of
I'm excited
them.
to hear about it on the podcast proper. Keaton, why don't you give us an update, bro? How's it going there, bro?
Not much progress so far. I feel like I'm somehow adding solder as I try to wick it away. I don't know what's going on, man.
Yeah, sometimes it bees like that, dude.
It sure do bees like that sometimes. I don't even want to tell you how long it took to get the LED out of this guy. I changed it to switched it out for a blue one. It took fucking forever to get that thing off. Thank you. I think I ended up just kind of snapping that one off and like shoving the legs out after they were detached. So I'm really getting close to just doing that here. I'm nervous to do that though in case something goes wrong with the clicky triggers. I don't imagine anything going wrong, but
Keaton,
I don't know.
listen.
I don't like
believe in
destroying
you.
perfectly good Nintendo hardware. It doesn't feel
I
right.
love you very much. I trust you. You're a beautiful, genius human being with the soldering skills of a god. No one solders better than you. You can do it. Okay, yeah, so also, I was thinking about playing Metroid Fusion, which is the only mainline Metroid game since they decided there's 5 mainline Metroid games. Metroid 2, which we all know I'm playing, and I played the remake. Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion, and then Metroid Dread, which we will also be doing a spoiler cast, podcasty cast on. Metroid Dread is...
Yeah.
I'm going to spoil a little bit of the content. It's good.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, it's pretty fucking good.
Keaton, did you play through Fusion recently?
I did, yeah. The week leading up to the Dread release, I am not lucky enough to have a physical copy. I had been thinking about picking one up for a while, and then they announced Dread, and I said, well, fuck, I better snag Fusion. I have Zero Mission, but I don't have Fusion. And what do you know? All the prices on eBay doubled overnight after the Dread announcement.
Oh, what is it? Seriously, like $150 now?
No. Was it already like $50 or $60?
It was up to $90-ish. Both Zero Mission and yeah, the whole thing is fucked up, man. Both Zero Mission and Fusion were like loosely around $75 for the past year or two.
Really? Okay. Maybe it didn't actually go up then, because yeah, I've seen it for 50 or 60 pretty consistently in the last few months.
I just got lucky. I just bought those like a fucking decade ago. I think I spent like $20 on each of them. I have Zero Mission as well. I played through Zero Mission recently.
I haven't played that in a while, but I found a complete in-box copy. I don't even remember where, but that was like 10 years ago. I probably paid like $30 for it.
Jesus.
So I got lucky there.
Complete in-box Game Boy games is the rarest thing, because them more than any other console had their boxes just thrown away. So like Wario World 1 is like a $20 game, but if you have it complete in box, it's like $300 just for the fucking box because it's so rare.
Wait, why did people throw those boxes away? More so than other boxes. What's your hypothesis?
Portable. If it's a portable thing and the whole thing is, you know, people made disc binders, but they really made Nintendo carrying cases that you would just stick the cartridges in, and everything was about downsizing, and then being marketed towards kids as well. You know,
Yeah.
Not that it always wasn't marketed towards kids for like Super Nintendo and stuff, but it was a home console. You know, you might just sit it on the shelf.
Right,
But
like
a
a book.
portable thing, it's supposed to be in one case. You can just grab and go.
It makes sense to me, bro.
But dude, you want
Here's
to
the
talk
point.
about how rare complete in-box copies of Game Boy games are. I asked for a Game Boy Advance game for Christmas a couple years ago. This was probably 2014, 2015. My mom found a fucking sealed copy of it. Boktai, Sun's in your hand.
Yo, let me get
Sealed.
that. Fuck.
That's
It's,
so cool, Kate.
Not sealed anymore. I did open it. But fucking
No, that's good. We play our
fucking
games
pristine.
here.
Yeah,
like,
we play our games. We play.
yeah,
our games
absolutely,
here.
we do. And this game is fucking excellent. If you haven't played
Produced
it,
by
check it out.
Hideo Kojima, of course.
I was gonna say, like, for
Boktai.
those who
Yeah,
don't
Sun
know,
is
that's
in your
fucking
hand.
Kojima's advanced game, dude. It's that thing is legendary. Has a
Yeah.
sun sensor.
Yeah, you know he had to do something wacky. It's fucking Kojima, so he said, yeah, you literally need to sit out in the sunlight to properly play this game.
Such a clear example of a dude that cannot fucking help himself.
He can't help himself.
All right,
dude.
just make an action adventure Game Boy game. Okay, you need to play it outside. There'll be a sun sensor that powers your sword, and the only way you can use your sword is if you play it outside. There are ROM hacks
here for it, dude.
that hack that out, so you can actually just fucking play the game.
Talk about a game that you probably want to play with original hardware, though. You know, of all other games.
Yep. I think emulators actually have a dedicated setting for those games to just like set the sun sensor from a value of like 1 to 10 or
I bet.
0 to 255 or whatever it is.
I think there are
so you-
homebrew tricks you can do for it too, because like there's no such thing as a sun sensor. It's just a light sensor, and if you like point it at like a light inside your house, I think it'll charge up.
Yeah.
Well,
What-
I remember reading about that game before it came out, and supposedly artificial light didn't work. It actually did have to be sun. Like it's a UV sensor or something like that. I don't know.
Totally
That's
possible.
so weird, dude.
Um,
what is the
there's a
content of that game?
sequel.
What kind of game is that? Is it an RPG?
I believe it's an
It's-
action RPG. Light on RPG.
Yeah, action
elements.
RPG with some stealth elements. A lot of stealth.
Because right?
Because
Kojima. Yeah.
Kojima stuff.
You're playing a vampire hunter who has a gun that uses
Solar
like
sensor, get
condensed solar
Yeah.
energy. Well, yeah, your gun uses like solar energy that you have to absorb to charge up your gun, and you use that to shoot enemies. So that's what you have to actually charge up by sitting outside while you play.
It got a sequel. Loctite
Good.
2, Solar Boy Django.
No,
I
it's
think
not called Solar Boy Django. No, it's not.
Solar Boy Django, that will only cost you $300 complete in box.
Oh my god,
Jeez.
dude. Hold on.
$40 loose.
Solar Boy Django.
Solar Boy Django with a D, of course. We all know how
Of
Django is
course,
spelled.
dude. Oh my
Django.
god, this makes me so. And Kojima still produced it, man. What the shit? That is so delicious. That is so delicious.
That dude is a crazy person. You guys ever play, I assume the answer is no, but like Police Knots or Earth Snatcher or anything like
No,
that?
I never played Police Knots nor Snatcher. No, I haven't.
No.
Honestly, I'm not I don't think this is a hot take, but like I'm not thrilled with Kojima's thing myself. You know, I love what he's done for the video game medium at large, but like I'm not gonna follow that boy to the ends of the earth. He's out of his fucking mind.
You're
And
talking
he misses
to
a lot.
You're talking to two of the biggest Death Stranding fans in the fucking world.
Death Stranding is one of my favorite video games of all
I
time.
love Death Stranding.
PT is one of my favorite video games of all time.
The Metal Gear Solid series is just hard to look back at, right? Because I love all of those games. I've played all those games. The story is nonsense, terrible, and bad.
Yeah,
Slash.
which makes the characters kind of null.
It's very fun. I think this
It's
is
okay.
something I've been dealing with video games in general. Very few, like 2%, have good stories, and then everything else is just lore and worlds I enjoy. You know?
Yes, I like how you put that.
I just played a game recently called Eastward. Have you guys heard of Eastward? It's like
I
a
have.
I heard about it.
a big indie.
Yep.
Before we hop off this call, we have to watch the intro cutscene to that. It's an animated thing. It will make you drop everything to play the game. It is the most incredible opening scene. Just talking
Yeah.
about like reasons to make you play that game. You watch that opening cutscene, you'll be like, "Give me that fucking game." This is something I'll talk about on the podcast, but I love that game, and the story is okay and totally falls apart. But I love the world, lore, and there are moments that are good, but it does not stick
Yeah.
the landing or whatever.
Yeah.
Hard to do.
Yeah, hard to do in games specifically, because like you never know. I mean, the problem with video games specifically is pacing, and like the bit like if you're writing a book, you can pretty much dictate pacing exactly as you want it as a creator, because you get a sense of people's reading speed and the rest of it. You know when things should hit after other things. In
Yeah.
games, I'm looking around your environments for 30 minutes, and then it's awkward that you presented a story beat that should have happened 2 minutes after something previously, but I wandered around for 30 minutes, so now the pacing is awkward. Video games specifically have pretty serious growing pains when it comes to narrative presentation. But that's just always going to be the thing. That's just always going to be the thing, because people can take their time with it. It's
I do
wild.
think
Yeah,
that's why they get
and
more
it's-
leeway.
Yeah, it's treated as an afterthought most of the time, right? Like the setting is all just like window dressing, and the story is just like who even needs? I mean, at least in the very early days, we're talking about Game Boy stuff, and like the manual might give you like a quick outline of what's going on, and that's it. So I mean, it's definitely a new thing that Kojima coming in and trying to make games more cinematic, and that was kind of the era of games being able to tell their own story without you having to like dig a little deeper and read the manual and all that.
True.
But yeah, it's not a very long history of storytelling. I think we're just kind of starting to get there where people are actually investing more in the story. But like you said, John, like there are a lot of problems to solve there. How do you make sure that the pacing feels right when people are just wandering around for 30 minutes?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And, I think about, I played through a game called Chasing Static a couple of nights ago. It's on the YouTube channel, and I quite enjoyed it. But I also recognize a similar phenomenon in Fatal Frame, which I'm playing through right now as well. This idea of redundancy in your story as well can get incredibly boring because you don't know what your player is going to see in terms of the documents that they pick up. So
Sure.
like the actual cutscenes themselves, the thing the characters comment on, and then the contents of the documents that you find throughout the space all reveal the same information. So it's all just incredibly redundant all of the time, saying the same bits, because the developers don't know what it is that you're going to pick up and what you're going to miss. So they're trying to be like, if you miss this first document, the second one has to kind of cover the same ground and only introduce something small thereafter. It's just like that's always going to be a problem in video games because you don't know what people are going to see and what they're going to miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seems like an impossible problem sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, unless you really just trust the player to really dig in and find it themselves, like something like Gone Home, where the story is the entire game and is the experience. If you're not there for that, then why are you even playing that game? Because it is just like kind of a walking simulator, and I think that's why those kinds of games exist, because you're pretty sure the player is focused on the story when there's not much else going on for the game, So if you miss something, you're really going to notice, but something that's just more gameplay dependent, that is more fun to like physically play, you're going to breeze over that kind of stuff.
But I bet that, I love the Gone Home example. Like if there was a bit of information in a game like that you missed, there would be a want within the player themselves to be like, wait, no, there's a hole here, and I need to fill that narrative hole. There's information that I don't have. So then the galvanizing factor of like continuing to traverse the environment is to fill in that hole. But like when you're playing like a horror game like Fatal Frame or something like that, and like your mind is just invested in other things, like actually surviving and like navigating the environment and progressing, and then I don't like really care what holes in the narrative exist. Like that's not why I'm navigating the space. Then some of those things are just gonna be left by the wayside. You know what I mean? It's tough, dude. It's fucking tough.
It is, especially in a game like that where it's daunting to go back and like it's fucking scary. I don't want to go back there. I don't know what kind of shit I'm gonna see, what I'm gonna run into.
It's like the concept of developers being okay with missing content. I think people like to point to Dark Souls as the perfect example of this. Not just missable areas and stuff like that, but tons of missable story.
Oh, for sure.
And getting what you want out of it. So like in theory, Fatal Frame would have to be strong enough to not have all the documents be the same and have each one be entirely unique, and then just trust the player to get as much as they want out of it. I bet there's horrifying statistics that in survival horror games, like 5% of players actually read the documents, right?
No, for sure.
I love all that shit. I would read every one, but I just bet most gamers would just be like, oh, can I shoot the zombie in the head now?
Well, no, for sure. And honestly, that's kind of like why Philadelphia's making a racket right now. That's why I do love trophy statistics sometimes. Just being like, actually,
It's
so
awesome.
I decided to go around a corner and experience this thing. Like, how many of the other player base decided to actually see this thing play out? And you see the statistic, it's like 8% of people have this trophy. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Well, even
what the hell?
The trophies that are just the one you get for beating the game, like nothing special, just the trophy you get for beating the game on normal difficulty is always sub 50%. You're like, that's crazy that people just and we're talking about not playing games. And people just don't finish the games.
You can even watch and see when a game does trophies or achievements for every single chapter of a game. If it's 12 chapters long, you can see the drop off and where it actually happens.
For sure.
Yeah, that is really interesting to me. I don't give a fuck about achievements and whatever, but seeing those statistics is super interesting.
All right, and we are back. We had a little trouble with the shoulder buttons there, but I want to toss it to Keaton for a progress update. What's going on over there?
Update. We got the shoulder buttons off.
Hey,
those are done. Got the new bad boys on there. Let's get some ASMR in here. Oh yeah.
Clicky.
Yeah. They these trigger buttons are very tall. I just found that out while we were taking a break and started reading some of the reviews on the site for them, and people mentioning that you had to actually sand them down to get them to fit. So I got a little piece of, this is 80 grit sandpaper and shaved a couple millimeters off those and got a quick test fit, and they look and feel pretty good.
So do we think that's because, like, the same thing with the screens not being made for Game Boy Advance specifically? Do we think that those are just, like, kind of generic tactile switches? Because it's the only reason they would be too tall, right? That kind of doesn't make sense.
Right, yeah, if they were made specifically for this. I mean, they look remarkably similar to the original Switches. A few differences, but so similar that it's really hard to say. You're right that if they were custom made for Game Boy Advances, then it would only make sense for them to be the actual proper height, where they're like several millimeters taller. So
do you think the AGS model is taller, and they kind of made it for that, and you could sand down versus having to make it taller? Again, we're just guessing here, but that's the only other thing I could think of.
Maybe. I wonder. I just had mine apart.
Same, honestly.
Yeah, mine. They do feel pretty similar. They might be the same shape and just like an actual different like tactile switch in there. I don't know. That's a good point. It might be that. Anyway, I'm ready to put that behind me and call that done. And let's move on to the screen, which is the real star of the show here.
Star of the show.
This is what everyone really... this is the main go-to, you know? This is... If you're gonna mod a Game Boy, it's got to be the screen more than anything else. USB-C charging is nice. Clicky triggers are nice. Better audio, whatever. That's all good. But you know, you need a backlit screen because playing on a on a non-lit screen in this day and age is fucking weird, honestly. It's so weird. It's like I have to lean my thing towards the light, but not at just the right angle that I get a glare. Like, what the fuck is this ancient technology?
Unreal. It's so not weird. Doable. Like, even the backlit, the front lit AGS is unplayable. And I know we all did this as kids, and we obviously played the game. But you like you said, you have to tilt it at the light, but it'll glare, so you have to like tilt it kind of up and right, and it never looks good. You can never see the colors. And even in sunlight, it doesn't work. It's the same issue. It's just wild that the technology was so flawed.
Yeah.
That's why it's necessary to do the screen at this point, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we have here's the screen itself. Very small, very lightweight. Look how like it's super thin. And then it has this little ribbon connector. Teeny tiny little thing that'll latch onto here. And this actually has two different contact strips for different models of the Game Boy, different types of actual AGBs, 32 pin or 40 pin. So this one looks like a 40 pin because the wider one fits in here. See, the other one is much narrower.
Weird. And that's all AGB 001s? They just have different pin connectors based off the revision?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was a weird thing. I had to figure out which one mine was when I did that mod like 5 years ago and put the AGS screen in mine. I had to figure out if it was a 32 pin or a 40 pin and get the proper little ribbon adapter because they had separate types. They didn't have something like this where it had both in one ribbon connector. It was just a short little like converter, something like an inside here and then an out one that would plug into here. So
it's nice you can just do it by size. It's nice that you can't really fuck that up, you know. Which side fits in here? Okay, good. It's that one.
Yep. Yeah, that's really nice. So the first thing to do with these screens is always to test them before you get them all snug and cozy in your case. So I'm gonna hook this up real quick and then we can do a quick test run.
Well, I'm getting so excited. I'm going to play so many Game Boy games and then talk about them on the podcast.
What games are you going to play?
Well, Keaton, I'm glad you asked. But we went through my Game Boy and Game Boy Color stash, but now we're going to get over to the more advanced portion of the library. You guys see what I did there?
I see what you did.
Thank you. So one thing I did that I'm proud of is I have a pawn shop around here called Cash Converters. Shout out Cash Converters, you're a legendary store.
Hey.
They would sell DS games for $1. I have like 20 copies of Brain Age for Nintendo DS. If anybody needs them, hit me up.
What? Oh my god.
It's true. But so the DS games all came with a GBA slot, which is kind of weird, but very nice. So, and I just did a quick and dirty repro art. It's black and white, but it looks real good on the shelf, and I can tell what game is fucking in here.
Heck yeah, dude.
That's awesome.
But I guess we'll go alphabetically since that's how I have them here. Castlevania Aria of Sorrow.
Nice.
You guys
Oh,
have any
yeah.
experience with this one?
Nope, haven't played it before.
I do not.
I also apparently have a copy of Nintendo DS Space Invaders in here. I had no
Beautiful.
idea it's in there. I wonder
It's a
if that's worth
must-play,
money.
man.
I'm gonna sell that later. Cool.
Hey, Colin, wait.
Oh my god,
Oh yeah.
man! I love the mid upgrade testing. That's incredible. Oh, I'm so excited. It's a legendary
yeah.
sound too. That startup sound.
Yeah, it's great. One of the
So
best.
So this is the Game Boy Advance game where they really nailed it. This is like 2000 or whatever. But this is the most liked Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
Really fun and was included on the recently released for Switch Castlevania collection. 20
one
bucks.
I have? Oh no, the recently released one.
There's the Castlevania
gotcha.
collection and then the Castlevania Advance collection. This is on the Advance collection.
Hey, look, gotcha.
It's 20 bucks. It's really good, and if you're only going to play one of them, this is the one you want to do there. Also on that same collection, Castlevania Circle of the Moon, which I just
Nice.
bought because I have to own all physical games. I played this on the collection. This one's really good, but it has a critical flaw. You can jump really high, but you move left to right really slowly. Within the first 15 minutes of the game, they give you a double tap to dash. But all that means is you're double tapping every
Everything.
single
Yeah, yeah,
second
yeah.
of the game.
Yep.
It's still playable. It's still pretty good, but it's brutal, and your hands will actually hurt. I had to get a D-pad Joy-Con to play the game, and still you just double tap, double tap, double tap.
Awesome. Awesome.
I don't own Harmony of Dissonance because now that's a $100 game too. So fuck everybody. Have some Final Fantasy games here. Haven't played. I don't know if you guys have ever messed with the Final Fantasy ports. This is Final Fantasy 4 for the Super Nintendo too. These are supposed to be the best versions of them, actually.
Really? I think I have 3 and 4 on the DS. I think, is that possible?
Yeah, so they remade 4. This is different. This is just like an enhanced port, like a retranslation.
Gotcha.
They remade 4 on DS, and then they also made something called the After Years. I don't know if you have that version as well. It's literally a
Not
sequel.
sure.
And then 3 is another remake, actually. I haven't played those either. But these are supposed to be like the recommended way to play them. Just like a better
Cool.
better translation, and they actually look better than the Super Nintendo games.
Cool.
And this is Final Fantasy 1 and 2. Haven't touched them, but Final Fantasy, hooray. Now we're getting to the good stuff.
Oh shit.
You guys ever hear of a series called Fire Emblem?
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful,
Hell
dude.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
So this is the crown jewel of my Game Boy Advance collection. This is a complete in-box copy of Fire Emblem, The Sacred Stones.
Heck yeah, dude.
I bought this for like $40 a couple years ago, and now this is $200 because everything is crazy.
Jeez.
I also have a copy of Sacred Stones, but cartridge only.
It's still gonna get you like $40-50.
Cool.
So you've played these, John? Have you played any of the other ones?
I've played Sacred Stones. What are the other ones on the GBA?
So there was 2 released in America.
Okay.
This game called Fire Emblem, which
that
is
Roy?
not the first Fire Emblem. That is Roy.
So that's Fire Emblem 6?
I don't know the exact numbers. That sounds
Okay.
right. But that's exactly right. There's a bunch on Super Nintendo, and there's one on NES that never came to America. This is the
Okay.
first one they released, and since they have to name everything dumb, this is just called Fire Emblem.
Gotcha.
And then Sacred Stones is the second one that came out.
Cool.
I have a fancy reproduction copy of Fire Emblem
Ooh.
Sword of Seals, which is also translated as the Binding Blade.
Okay.
I
That
bought
is-
this at-
That's a beautiful version, dude.
It's
I
an
bought it at-
awesome case. Where'd you get that?
I got this at Too Many Games, probably like a decade ago at this point.
Oh, no way.
It's very nice. I definitely paid like $50 for it, which is too much for a
What's the
repro.
title, Colin?
So this one says Fire Emblem Sword of Seals. I know
Sword
that
of
it's also
Seals.
translated as the Binding Blade. I think that's the more popular name for it.
Okay.
Seals, binding, get it?
Uh-huh.
And so this is also Roy. And I forget whether it's Fire Emblem and then this. I think this one comes first, actually.
Huh. Okay.
But so this is a fan translation, totally playable in English, fun to play on original hardware. Repros are fun, just don't tell me a repro is authentic.
Yeah, right.
I think they're some of my favorites. I haven't gone back and played the like Super
I
Nintendo
love
Fire
Sacred
Emblems,
Stones. Yeah.
but I definitely prefer Sacred Stones and the original over like Fates specifically, or Shadow of Valencia. They're all pretty good, but it's just kind of like diminishing returns at this point. And Three Houses sucks. You heard me.
That's the slaps, bro. You crazy.
They fucked up the difficulty. It was fun or whatever, but it wasn't difficult for one goddamn second.
Not for a second. Not for a second, and I do agree.
Here's Yu-Gi-Oh! Worldwide Edition. I just have this. I don't know how I got it. Never played it. I just have things, you know?
Uh-huh.
And it was only $1 to put it in that Brain Age case, so I did it. Here we go. Here's a good one. Pokemon.
Fire Red.
Fire
Nice.
Red. I don't think I've actually played this. To be honest, I actually just played Pokemon Shield. For the fuck of it.
Yeah?
What is wrong with them? It is the same game, and it is actually worse than some of the previous ones I've played.
Yeah, dude.
It is just bonkers.
Yeah.
This is authentic.
remember-
Don't worry. I opened it
People have
up.
been saying that. I remember since like the third generation, people saying, "Oh, it's just the same game again and again." And I remember being like, "Yeah, well, that's what we want, so fuck you." And I don't know. As time went on, you know, we've done fucking 8 generations, and I'm kind of over it. But I mean, people still have that same attitude. I mean, it's like, yeah, we just want more of the same. It's fine. Like, it's Pokemon. That's all that we want.
Yeah, so I really can't argue with that, and it's both for me because it is just junk food. I'm not like buying I borrowed the game, so I didn't even pay for it, you know.
Yeah.
And it was just something I did. It was like a quick. Those games are 20 hours long. You know, you just kind of truck through it. And I had fun. I played the game and I got what I wanted out of it. I do this. I wait like 5 years and then I play a Pokemon game. I haven't played all of them. Like I didn't play Ruby or Diamond. But it is just wild. And this is part of like issues with AAA development, right? There's just zero incentive to change it at all. And
Yeah.
that game
Certainly.
sold millions of copies.
The best-selling fictional IP of all time is Pokemon, which is just the craziest thing of all time. Above Hello Kitty.
Wow.
Wow, is that number 2?
Yep. I think so.
Oh, well, here's another interesting one. Mother 3.
Yo, that's so
Yo.
rad, dude. That's so rad.
This again is another fan's translation because of
Certainly.
course this game has never come out. I've put like 2 hours into this, but I never went through it, which seems like a gaming sin to me. I love Earthbound so
Yeah,
very
that's
much.
pretty crazy.
Have you played it, John?
I have not played Mother 3, no, but Earthbound is one of my favorite video games of all time.
I mean, you guys are Smash fans, right? Don't you like want to learn about where Lucas came from?
Right,
Lucas's
right.
origins and story?
Yep.
No, I hate that fucking character because of Smash, so.
It worked in reverse. That is why I played Earthbound. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but
No, for sure. I mean, I think about in like, you know, when I was a kid playing the fucking, you know, like it was great. Like, who is Ness? Why did I unlock Ness in Smash 64? You know, like, who is this? Same with like Captain Falcon. I didn't know who these fucking characters were, and then I grew up a little bit and figured it out.
Spot on, man. I mean, spot on. And there was built-in modes where you would pull up and it'd show like a gallery and it would show the games that they played. Like,
Right.
Clearly, it was at least half branded towards marketing.
Yeah,
And it
for
fucking
sure.
worked. That's absolutely the reason I know what F-Zero is. You know.
I
Yeah.
mean, the only
Uh,
the only reason we know about Fire Emblem in the West, I think, is because of Marth and Roy and Melee. You know,
Yeah.
like I didn't even know what the fuck that was, like at all. And now, like, you know, Awakening and Three
Yeah, we
Houses
wouldn't-
means so much to me.
I was gonna say we wouldn't have 3 houses if it wasn't for Smash. Pretty
Certainly
crazy.
not.
What year did Melee come out?
Oh,
2001, I think.
Yep.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah. So that predated any Fire Emblem game coming out in America.
How wild is that? But like people were curious, you know? Like that's so cool to me.
Well, actually, I don't know when. I assume this is the first one. I don't know if Path of Radiance beat this technically, but it has to be close. This is 2003, which is definitely after Smash Brothers.
The Path of Radiance was 2005.
So yeah, Martha and Roy were just in that game
Yep.
for
With music
fucking
and shit, and just being like, who are these
2
weird?
years.
Yeah,
Wild.
it's cool.
That brings us to Metroid Zero Mission,
Love it.
which is a game
Nice.
everyone says is perfect. It's okay. It's good
your
classic
tongue.
Metroid. I'm excited. I'm just burning bridges here. That's what I'm doing. It's good classic
here for
Metroid. It feels good. There's a whole stealth section where you play as Zero Suit Samus, and it is fucking trash ass garbage. Holy shit. It is so bad. But it was fun. Pretty good. Oh,
I'm
no,
excited to
I almost
replay
just
that one.
threw it on the ground.
I haven't played that one in years, so I'll get to it eventually. Right now I just have this burning desire to play through every single Metroid game after playing Dread. Unfortunately, I think the next one I play is gonna be Other M, and then maybe I'll go back through the like Zero Mission and even the OG version, which is on that cartridge, and like 2 and the remake of that. Like,
I also want to try Other M next. I wonder if playing the NES Metroid is even possible at this point. I've like given it tries and just been like, oh, no fucking way. It's hard, and then just the no map is very difficult.
Yeah, no map is pretty brutal.
I'm sure it's possible, but I mean, that seems brutal. I own
Yeah,
that twice. I forgot I owned it, and I bought another copy. So I have 2 copies on the NES. I have the
Amazing.
the
Oh,
regular
no way.
label, and I have the yellow label version as well.
I have it on Wii Virtual Console and the Zero Mission copy. I don't have an NES.
I forgot that it was on Game Boy. Did they release a Metroid NES Classic as well?
They did, yeah.
like-
so it's on the Game Boy Advance twice.
That's insane. You would just buy Zero Mission.
Yep.
Whatever. Get your money, Nintendo. I also am filled with your same need to play all the Metroids. I'm going to play Other M here soon, I think, as well. Keaton, did you play Prime 3 Corruption?
I did not. That's the only other one I
I did.
haven't touched.
You did, John?
I did, yeah. I played Corruption.
How does it work on the Wii? Like, is it very Wii motion control heavy?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like inside and out. Not in a. I mean, at least in my memory, I played it back. You know, when I was a kid, and the Wii was novel.
Are we talking aim shooting?
Yep.
I think aim shooting and like
Ooh.
like whipping nunchuck for your grapple and stuff like that. I remember it not being too arduous. At least, again, I think like through nostalgia goggles, you know, I remember it being like the novelty being, you know, engaging. I think if we went back and played that thing now, it would be pretty brutal. And I also remember, like, as a huge fan of Metroid Prime 1, it kind of shitting upon the formula of what that thing built. It was much more linear, much less exploratory and stuff.
That's why I've been putting it off. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a
That
proper
sounds
Metroid
terrible.
game. But
Yeah.
you know what? You know what is fun though. I have the Metroid Prime trilogy for the Wii, and I played through the first Prime with all Wii controls. They did Wii controls for the first 2.
Right,
And I think it actually works. It's a lot of fun. Those games aren't super execution heavy, and it's still very doable. You know, because those are single stick shooters on the GameCube. You know, you move
Unbelievable.
and shoot with one stick.
Yeah.
Because they're not exactly like first-person shooters. I think the developers have even said that, you know, they don't consider it a first-person shooter. It's a first-person action adventure game or something like that, which I think tracks because it is that classic Metroid formula, you know, exploration and navigation, just in a first-person kind of viewpoint.
Yeah.
I remember loving Metroid Prime, and then I played 2, and I remember it just being incredibly fucking long and tedious to play.
Yeah. I have the exact same experience with Metroid Prime 2. We were young when those games kind of came out. I remember being like 12 or something like that, and not like truly being able to appreciate the grandiosity of those projects. But like when two came out, I remember it being so, I don't know, like esoteric and difficult to wrap my head around the actual mapping and the rest of it, that I did give up on 2. But I love 1 with a burning passion. Fell off at 2 for sure.
I kind of want to play 3 just to see what it's like, and I love crossing series off my list, you know.
Definitely.
But I'm.
You might get a kick out of 3
for sure.
Like character heavy. Like there's like fucking characters in 3, which is so weird. It's just
Clearly where they destroyed the series, right?
right. Like the point of Metroid, as we were talking about earlier, is that it's, you know, like the focus is isolation. You shouldn't give me so many points of contact that I don't feel isolated any longer. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's totally true. So I don't know what's happening here, but this right trigger is just not registering at all.
Oh no!
Oh no!
See, like I can make this is a Game Boy game. Yeah, I can make it bigger, but it's not going back.
Dun dun dun! Another hitch in the road.
Dun. God damn it!
Hey, that other one's working great though.
Yeah, that one works okay. So I might just try to get this one out and try another one of the triggers that we have in there, because I did get 4 of them. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now.
Gotcha. So I think maybe we'll wrap up with the last 2 games I have here. Maybe come back and do a second part, or maybe we'll just leave it there.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Another classic Game Boy Advance game coming at you. The Legend of Zelda. Minish Cap.
Minish Cap.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Never played it.
I played it recently. I actually did not finish it.
I played it when I was young. I remember loving it, but I have like no actual memories of the game.
I think there's a pretty big fan base around
good.
it. Yeah, you go small. Fall somewhere weird on the timeline, right? Isn't it like right after Skyward Sword or something?
Yeah, it's like incredibly early, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Hyrule Historia over there. You guys want to dig into it? No? Okay.
You know, that fucking monstrosity of a timeline that means nothing.
Stop trying to make your games like matter and have like timelines and stuff. It's fine. They're video games. We'll get over it.
I don't care. I don't care. As a huge Zelda fan, just like, I don't care. Unless they're direct sequels, I don't care what happened 3,000 years in the past. You're contriving all of it. I promise you are.
Right. If it was just an anthology series, would that ruin the game or ruin the stories if it was just considered an anthology story?
Right.
No, it would be fucking fine. Jesus.
And then, like, straight up, like, Breath of the Wild came out, and they were like, "Do you know what? Actually, none of that timeline matters. Breath of the Wild is its own thing. It's so stupid."
6th timeline, and then Breath of the Wild 2 will be a 7th timeline. It all doesn't matter.
Yep.
Which brings me to my last Game Boy game, Klonoa, subtitled Empire of Dreams.
Klonoa, dude. What the fuck?
Interesting.
The Namco biggest mascot, don't you know? It's him and Pac-Man.
Wait, really?
Kinda. Just because Namco doesn't have much going on.
Sure.
Klonoa is great. This is like a puzzle platformer, which is really fun. But I bought this after playing the game everyone knows is Door to Phantomile.
Door to Phantomile, yeah.
The PS1 game. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, for sure. Wait, Klonoa looks fucking sick. I'm looking at images now. This looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, I remember it being a very pretty game, right?
I think it's pretty. I think it looks fucking great.
Yeah, I'm picturing something very like whimsical and like up in the sky or something.
Very whimsical. The UI honestly looks a little Kirby-esque.
You're all spot on. Sorry it took me so long. I was having a minor panic attack because I couldn't find it on my shelf. So here's the PS1 copy of Klonoa Door to Phantom Isle.
Nice.
Wow.
And this will perfectly nail home all the dumb market stuff we've been talking about. I bought this for the lofty price of $100 in 2018.
Whoa.
This game sells actively on eBay for $600.
That's
What?
fucking so stupid. That's so stupid.
Six?
This is
I could
research.
buy like
These
a
are-
fucking kidney for $600. That's
I
so
could buy a
insane.
PS5. I could just walk up to somebody and be like, PS5 and $100 on top, please.
Yeah, actually.
Um,
Man, but I'm looking at screenshots of this fucking game right now, Colin. It looks so delightful. This looks like my John, dude. This is so cool.
It's 2.5D, but it's just really fun. It's actually good. It's difficult. It's not like Kirby easy, while
Yeah.
still being like whimsical and fun. They remade it on the Wii. There's a Wii Klonoa that you could play.
Oh, interesting.
It's supposed to be okay. It's not as charming graphically. Like the PS1 sprites work much better than like a fully 3D
Yeah,
game.
for sure.
The funny thing is I bought this for $100. It's worth $600. I played this. It's on the PlayStation 3 store as a PS1 classic for $6.
$6, yeah, for sure.
And that's how I played it on my PS Vita.
That's amazing. Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, but this looks fucking delightful.
They made a sequel on PS2, Klonoa 2, Lunatia's Veil.
Look that up.
Pretty good. That one's only $100, and I spent $20 on it 2 years ago.
Jesus, dude. Yeah, I mean, even looking at the PS2 sequel, a little bit of the charm feels a little lost, even in a generational jump. You know, there is something just so beautiful about a PS1 aesthetic.
They're just trying to be modern PS2 games with the second one, right? But
Exactly.
the first one is doing the Symphony of the Night thing, where you're not even trying to maximize the 3D of that. You're just using the PlayStation 1 hardware to make like the dream Super Nintendo looking game, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so well put.
It's a really short game too. I think it's like fucking 3 or 4 hours if you just play through it.
Damn. Maybe I'm due for a playthrough because this looks fucking amazing.
Right, you got a little hover jump. He flops his ears.
Heck yeah.
He flops his ears.
Wait, is he a rabbit? What is he?
It's a cat. It's supposed to be somewhat ambiguous. I don't know if it's like 1-to-1 with an animal, but I think cat is the one they closely link it to.
The
I was
character
playing a-
Klonoa has features of dog, cat, and rabbit, but is not explicit to any particular animal. Okay,
See?
yeah,
It was close
there we
there.
go.
I was playing a game and there was a Klonoa doll like sitting in the background, and I forget what game it was.
Mm.
It might have been like a Tales of game, Tales of
I mean, if it's-
Vesperia.
If it's Namco,
What I'm thinking. You can't just Google Klonoa doll in background. Doesn't work.
Easter egg?
What a much better search term. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
10 most shocking Easter eggs in kids' games? Maybe I don't want to go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, I don't know what was happening there. Let me just try Klonoa Tales of Vesperia. But that was another moment. I was like, oh, that's just for me, the one guy that knows what Klonoa is.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, so it was Tales of Vesperia. You
Cool,
can get a
dude.
Klonoa outfit, and there's a little doll sitting in the background.
Man, good pull. That's awesome.
So it has the PS1 game, the PS2 game, and then they made 2 Game Boy games. And I believe that's the entire series. It just died after that.
Shit.
I mean, Namco doesn't really make games anymore. He's lovely, though. Canceled film adaptation. Probably a
Damn.
good call.
Chris Pratt does Klonoa.
Sure, yeah, that all makes sense. Yep. Yeah, the last game that came out was the 2008 Wii remake. Which, how much does
Okay.
that cost? Because it was like $5. I bet it's like $1,000 now. For the Wii. Wow, $100, $60 loose.
Jeez.
Pick a random Super Nintendo game that you guys like.
Donkey Kong Country 2.
$20.
That tracks.
You
That
just proved
tracks.
my point. There are a few that are just like so readily available that it doesn't work. But it's just crazy. Like, let's see, Secret of Mana. $70 for
70?
a cartridge of Secret of Mana.
How about the Legend of the Mystical Ninja?
Excellent. That's what we're looking for. Thank you. A game I owned and sold and regret it to this day. So it's saying a loose is still only $40. A complete
Okay.
is $160.
Cool.
Now the N64 ones are crazy.
Really? Even Mystical Ninja itself? I thought that was a pretty ubiquitous game.
Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, loose for $80.
What?
Complete in box for $300.
Wow.
And then I have to. There's no Mystical Ninja in Goemon's Great Adventure. Please hold.
That's so weird to me.
Goemon's Great Adventure, loose price $115.
Yeah.
Complete price $350.
That's so weird, man. Like, fucking don't incentivize me to sell my entire childhood.
It's hard. It's hard, dude. And part of me is like, what if you think about it from like a stock perspective? Because I did not pay that much. I actually am profiting off these games.
Yeah.
You just have to assume it would come down, and it may never come down. You know?
Right, right.
But if it all does crash, everyone's gonna feel fucking stupid. Like, should I sell my $600 Klonoa, pay my rent, and then buy it
Right,
again for
right.
$50 in a couple of years?
Right, right. And like, I mean, I guess it becomes like particularly tricky, like in the world that we're currently living in, where I can emulate any of these games at any fucking time. Like,
Yeah, you're
I
telling
don't
me,
know.
dude. I have
or even copy the
network
disc
version.
and play it on legit hardware.
Yeah, yeah, for real. I mean, like, I recently did a Mystical Ninja playthrough, just like last month or something like that, and I had that cartridge sitting at my parents' house, but I emulated it because it was just convenient. So, like, my life wouldn't be any lesser without that cartridge somewhere peripherally, like in my life, you know?
It gets
It's
even
like-
more complicated than that. So I have my modded PS2, and I play games off the hard drive.
Yeah.
So now I'm playing on original hard drive, like based off of what Keaton said.
Oh,
there. Like,
right,
if you,
right.
If you copy the disc, but I'm just playing that game on my PS2. It's not even
Right,
emulation.
right.
It's just launching the ISO via hard drive.
Yep.
I own a complete in box copy of Goemon's Great Adventure.
That's so cool.
It is smoke damaged in the most weird way. Like, it was
What? Smoke damage?
How?
What?
not like cigarette smoke, like house fire smoke. There are burn marks on it. Let me grab it. Hold on.
Yeah, yeah, man, we gotta see this shit, dude.
What the fuck?
That's so
About to
funny. How's it
hear,
coming there, Keith?
You know, not as well as the last extraction went. Having a hard time getting all the solder out of these two on the side. These holes are a little bigger and just like hold more solder within them. Just like sinks down into it. I'm trying to like suck it out of there.
Okay, so I bought this crazy lot on eBay. This has to be over a decade ago. But I got Goemon's Great Adventure and I got Mischief Makers.
Cool.
So here's my copy of Mischief Makers. It was
Clean.
melted. In the listing, he said it was ribbon tested, which means he had a ribbon that he could just stick on the pins. Because the cartridge was melted that it would not fit. It was warped and wouldn't fit in an N64.
What the fuck?
Wow.
So I bought a copy of NASCAR 99 and used the shell. So
Used the
I
shell,
transported
yeah.
the board of the shell, and then I I did like a fancy repro. It's not perfect, but I that's not the original artwork. I printed it off there.
Looks nice though.
Nice.
And then here's Goemon's Great Adventure. Looks good, right?
Oh, it's so cool, dude.
Wow.
It's so cool.
Smoke damaged.
Oh
It is just
shit! Wait, what the
literally
fuck?
burned. Like it got rescued from a house fire.
Damn.
There was like some stickers or something on the back that just like melted on there.
Wow.
That looks incredibly gross.
I'll dig in a little deeper here. It's like a little wavy.
Okay.
It doesn't smell anymore. Like I literally, when I bought it, I like let it outside to desmellify it. This is just like torn through the cardboard at this point. But that's the craziest part. That's just like literally like charged smoke
Completely
damage there.
discolored.
That's
Yeah.
wild,
What the
yeah.
hell? That's a cool piece though, dude.
I've got the manual, but
Oh,
it's just the
heck
front
yeah, dude.
page. I don't know what happened to the rest
shit,
of it.
dude.
It's just the front page. I don't think
Torch in
that's-
the fire, man.
Oh,
That's
man.
crazy.
I really like just paint a picture of it. He reached for his Goemon's Great Adventure while it was being
Right,
burned.
right. It only got the front page.
He had to cut off the rest of the manual so it didn't all catch on
Yep.
fire.
The funniest
Um,
part to me is that, like, the house is on fire. Better grab Goemon's Great Adventure.
Oh, yep, that's the one.
It sounds like what I would do. So this is the cartridge. This one wasn't transplanted, and it's just fucking perfect.
It
which
looks
Jeez.
fucking beautiful, dude.
which
Wait,
is great.
Is Sasuke not on the front of that? Is it just Yay, BC Mario, and Goemon? Just the three?
He's in there. He's
Oh, he is
tucked
in there?
between Goemon and Ye.
Oh, okay, gotcha,
You
gotcha.
see him there?
I do. I see a little something there. Cool.
Fun game. Never beaten it. I wouldn't know how to value this. Right? It's 350 CIB. And
Yeah.
it's definitely worth something. But having to explain smoke damage to someone doesn't seem like a fun thing to do.
Man, there are like people though, right, that like know that kind of shit inside and out. I've been watching so many fucking Pokemon trading card Twitch streams of people just opening packs, and it's amazing. These are like the best Twitch streams I've ever fucking watched. Like,
Really?
it's so fucking hype. But they have like professionals sitting next to them as they're pulling cards
To
be like,
grade
well,
'em?
yeah, like to grade them kind of on the spot, and like things that you don't even recognize. Like you could pull a fucking like holographic something like a huge chase card that means something, and somebody could be like, oh, that's cool that you pulled that, but the actual holographic element bleeds outside of the actual square where the Pokemon is, or
Yeah.
like you turn
People
it
selling
around and it's
misprints,
not.
like they didn't cut
Yeah.
the card right.
Yeah,
It's
like
absurd.
even like all Pokemon cards like aren't perfectly centered because they're like cut in sheets. So
Uh-huh.
like the moment you pull a good card, you turn it around and see if like the Pokeball in the center is like perfectly centered, and like you wouldn't recognize it just as like a fan whether or not it's like 100% in the center. But like as a professional, you see like no, that's like 3 degrees off or something like that. Crazy world that
Wow.
people give a fuck.
It's funny because I am a crazy collector in this way, but I found my childhood's like sports trading cards, and I found a Kobe Bryant card, and it turned out to be a Kobe Bryant rookie card
Oh yeah.
that I sold for $150 on the internet.
Holy fuck,
Jeez.
dude.
It's like, wow, who cares? I should not be saying that because I buy the dumbest video games. It's the same exact thing. And that one's just double interesting because it's just profiting off that dude's death. Kobe Bryant died. Now
Thanks for
everybody
dying,
wants
bro.
his rookie card. Put that $150 in my pocket and move on. Kobe.
Yeah, that's wild. Kobe. R.I.P.
But I think that's where we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you, Keaton. Thanks for joining me, John. I believe we're going to call it here. Maybe we'll do a part 2 if we want to do the rest of the build there.
Yeah.
It was fun
Yeah,
hanging
I think
out,
we
though.
should
Heck
we
yeah.
should finish this out. I might take some time off camera to get this last trigger out and get another one in there and test that and make sure everything is all good there. But yeah, it's a rough place to leave it off there. Sorry we didn't get to finish your Game Boy here tonight, Colin, but we'll get there.
I shouldn't have made you try something you hadn't modded before. I was like, well, those tactile switches look good.
I mean, it was fine. I got it done, and then it just turns out one of them doesn't work. or
Yeah.
I fucked something up. I really don't know what happened here. So, I
We
mean,
got the left side working. I'm sure we'll get the other side working.
And you were dripping with sex appeal the entire time, Keaton. It's so attractive to watch you work, truly. I like to watch your triggers go, bro. It's really fucking great.
Trigger me, daddy. Thank you so much, guys. We'll catch you later. Catch the podcast. Catch some YouTube video. We got a bunch of stuff going on. Peace.
Happy midnight.
Peace.
And hey, we're back for part 2 here. Keaton was able to figure out the triggers. Shout out Keaton. And I just wanted to throw it back to him to give us a little progress update. What's going on, man?
Yeah, so I was able to remove the bad trigger. Got another one put on. I struggled for a long time getting the other one off. Ended up saying, you know what, fuck it. It's a bad trigger anyway, I'm hoping. So I just cut it. The 2 legs that were... 2 of the legs are bigger, and then the 2 other ones are smaller. The smaller ones is able to get loose. The bigger ones, I just could not get enough solder out of the way to actually get them out, so I just cut the legs. Got a new one put in, and it's working just fine.
Just right away? Like no issues?
No issues. Nope,
Definitely,
it's all good.
definitely sounds like the other one was just bad then.
Yeah, I guess. And I'm not even gonna like chase them down for a refund. It's what $1.99 per
Yeah, I think
trigger.
it's like
So like,
$1.30 or something like that. Yeah.
it's fine.
That's good. That was the major hurdle yesterday, right?
Yeah, I'm just glad I had extras on hand. I was able to just do that.
Oh, yeah.
We're able to wrap this up the next day. So that's pretty cool. Gonna go ahead and turn my camera down to my desk here.
We got left. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so actually before I get that out, first we have a couple wires to solder to the ribbon cable here. There's a couple little solder pads, these little gold circles here, that we need to connect to the select L and R buttons so that you can change the brightness with those.
Dope.
So we're going to do that real quick. And it came with a couple pre-cut wires, which is nice.
These things are so nice. And it's expensive, but it's not like crazy expensive. The screen was $58, I think. Which is all you would really need to make like a major upgrade. The shell was only like $12. It was all surprisingly cheap, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
The issue is you need someone who can do the labor for you. Thanks, Keaton.
That's correct.
I'll compensate you, baby. Thank you. The brightness setting is one of the coolest things. I think it's really funny. The SP, the AGS 001 and 101 have brightness settings. It's a big button in the center that has like the sun for brightness on it, and it's on or off. That's your brightness settings.
No way. What the hell?
Well, that's true for the 001, but the 101 does have 2 or 3 different actual brightness levels and no option to actually turn it off. Yeah, and I actually have a modded one here that I put a new screen in, and you're not going to be able to see it, but it actually works to change to like 5 or 6 different brightness settings.
Did you have to resolder it, or did it just work as existing?
No, I did have to solder one wire for that, but having a dedicated button for that already is really nice.
That's super cool.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. It's amazing how bad they fucked up the 001, and then they clearly realized all their mistakes. They released a new model that had the brightness settings. I wonder,
how long was that between
know.
those models?
I am curious. I will look that up. I do think it's funny though. Do you think they kept the brightness on off thing because people might be used to having no backlight and they might not want it? It's the only thing I can think of.
I mean, what I was thinking about was, so like, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't the SP the first chargeable in the Game Boy family?
Correct.
Yes.
The first one that didn't use. I wonder if actual like battery life was concerned. You know, if you're running low on battery, kill that brightness toggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, yeah, brightness settings, for laptops or whatever, it's always a thing. You can turn down your brightness and extend your battery life, so people might have thought about that.
Yeah, I mean that would definitely help, and that would definitely be the thing. But these traditionally last incredibly long. Like the battery life on the SP, even the 101, is like I think they rated it at like 8 to 10 hours.
That's pretty great.
Pretty good.
But a guy ran a test on YouTube I watched when I was comparing screens. He compared it an unmodded, and like the original one will run for like 30 hours.
No way.
Not
Jeez.
not backlit. Which why would you want to do that? But that is crazy. Especially the world we live in now. Like my cell phone, which is like $1,000 phone, will die in 6 hours of regular usage.
Right, or like even just the Switch undocked. You know, that thing's dead in 3 hours.
Crazy. Do we all have like launch model Switches? Because I know they did a battery revision at some point.
Oh, did they?
That's right.
I'm pretty sure I do have a launch model.
It was sneakily to repair a exploit when people were hacking the Switches with custom firmware.
Oh, okay.
It was like innate to the Switch itself, so they fixed that and re-released it and marketed it as like a slightly better battery.
Lol.
Wow.
So the AGS 101 came out February 14th, 2003. Let me just check out when the SP came out. So that's several years into the PlayStation 2, right? Things are going way further at that point.
Yeah, and only a year away from the DS, right?
Yeah. Hard to find the information. I think the SP itself came out February 14th, 2003. I will casually troll this Wikipedia page as I look through there.
Oh, shit. I saw
You guys,
Oh, wow.
guess the frame rate of the Game Boy Advance.
Wow. Womp womp.
The frame rate?
30?
50 hertz. So weird.
50.
With that PAL action.
Yeah, I was gonna say fucking European stuff. It's gotta be a nightmare to have two different standards like that, though, 50 and 60 hertz for TVs.
Absolutely. And that causes an issue with importing. Like if you import some PAL games, I forget the exact science because my PVM supports 50 and 60 hertz, but the game will actually like run faster if you're playing it on the wrong hertz television. Oh, and the craziest thing I think about the SP is they took out the headphone jack. That blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
And they sold an adapter. It plugged into the power where you would charge it, and
That's
it came
so
to
weird.
a 3.5 jack. I forget the reasoning. It was probably like, we're trying to make it as small as possible, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of was the deal with that, right? I mean, we're advertising it as like being super small. I remember like the ad with like a woman having it in her back pocket or something.
It is incredibly small. As we talked about previously, like portability is not really the issue. And with the SP, your hands are way too close together. You know, like you can barely fit it in your hands. You're doing a little like that action. So the backlit AGS 101 came out September 2005. So it was 2.5 years between the two models.
2005. Isn't
Which
that after
means-
the DS was out?
Yep, that's what I was going to say. Like a year. They love to support stuff for a really long time. Yeah, so it was a full year after the DS was out already. That's wild. I wonder what do you guys think the last 3DS game released was?
The title or the date?
Either, both? Just because we're talking about Metroid. Metroid's hot right now with Dread coming out. And no one played Samus Returns because it came out after the Switch was released.
Oh, yeah.
I think we were just talking recently about the Luigi's Mansion remake on 3DS that came out in like 2018.
And
I feel like there's got to be something.
they didn't port
Go
that
ahead.
to Switch. They still haven't ported Luigi's Mansion to Switch. That seems like fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Nope.
that's the insanity to me. But I mean, weren't no, I'm thinking different things. I was thinking about Pokemon, but Sword and Shield are Switch exclusives, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm on the Wikipedia page for last release games. There was a game released in May 20th of 2021.
Whoa.
But
What?
it has to be a digital game. It's not a physical game.
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
Bricks Defender 2, Bricks Defender 3, Maze Breaker 5, Bricks Pinball.
What the fuck?
I'll have to see if I can discern one that I actually recognize here. Oh man, I don't know if you guys see this on the store. There's like this, I almost said there's a pandemic of things, but that's a touchy subject. There's a glut of copy games. So I'm going to tell you the title of this game and you will know exactly what it's trying to mimic. Shakedown Hawaii.
Hotline Miami?
It's a Hotline Miami
Oh
clone.
my
It's a
God.
Hotline Miami thing.
I wish I had more examples, but there are a ton of those games. It's fucking absurd.
That is very funny.
Oh, this is the answer. Persona Q2.
Yeah, that was
New Cinema
2019,
Labyrinth.
right?
June 4th, 2019. Seems dumb. Why didn't they put that on Switch? It was out for forever.
Did you play that, Colin?
No, I played Q1. I did not play Q2.
I also played Q1 and fucking loved Q1. But Q2, I don't know why. I missed it.
I know why. We were playing the goddamn Switch at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
You know the deal with those games. They're just Etria and Odyssey games.
Yeah. Which I'm down for.
I've always wanted to try that series, but I just haven't broached it really.
I own a couple of them. Atrian Odyssey. I think I probably pumped a couple of hours into one of them.
They're fun. They're all kind of samey.
Yeah.
Seems like the kind
for
of thing
sure.
you want to go for like once every couple of years, maybe.
Yeah, honestly, it's like a pretty big mental investment. You know, like literally, you're drawing the map as you're going. You know, as you're exploring the dungeons and stuff like that. It's a lot of like user. I don't know. Like you have to do a lot yourself, which feels like very like 90s, but I don't know.
I remember that game being very difficult. Like I think it was like a Clock Tower-esque level that it ended on.
Oh, Persona Q.
Yeah, very difficult.
Yeah, very hard, and the encounter rate at the end was fucking out of control.
I got the special edition of that, which came with replica tarot cards.
Oh,
Which
that's
is-
so cool.
So cute.
I love that shit.
I don't know if you guys can make it out on camera, but it looks like the brightness control is working.
Nice, dude.
See the Game Boy logo. Oh, now I don't see the Game Boy logo.
Yeah, this has 7 levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
See it?
10.
Whoa, dude.
What's the button combination for that?
You hold select and press L to turn it down and R to turn it up. It seems a little bit
Simple.
touchy. I wonder if it's because I'm just... Okay, that's better. I'm just kind of holding the silicon pad down on the select. So might not be
Yeah,
super
Probably.
stable on that.
right.
But it seems to be working pretty well. And nice thing about this is it does remember your last selection. So it'll when you turn it back on, it'll be back at whatever
Oh, cool.
brightness you last set it at.
Keaton, I do love your battery tester with the alligator clips and the AA batteries. That's
Dude, I'm so glad I
Fantastic.
got this. They sell this on one of those sites too. I think this is Handheld Legend as well. Like $3 because it's just a bit of plastic
It's-
and alligator clips, but it's
yeah,
so
it's really
handy.
nothing, right? Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, because I had to keep like putting everything back into the shell to get the batteries on with the connections in the the little metal thing in the shell to like get continuity, and it was such a pain in the ass. And I saw that and I was like, you know what? All right, I'll probably do a few more mods, and this will make life a lot easier. So I just grabbed one.
Yeah, I mean,
And totally
as
worth
someone,
it.
yeah, someone that builds computers, I'm sure you're familiar with this too. If you couldn't like test parts before you closed all that shit up, it'd be a goddamn nightmare.
Oh
if you
my
couldn't
God,
just
yeah.
plug in the power supply and fire it up mid build.
Yeah. I feel like I don't have these wires set up the best way. Yeah, they're all gonna be just kind of mashed between. I might be all right. I am going to stick a bunch of Kapton tape down on here to prevent any shorts from happening. Are you familiar with
Ooh.
Kapton tape?
I am unfamiliar with this fancy non-conductive tape. Is that the idea?
Yep. It's it's like really fancy electrical tape. This rolls, I think, like $20 for like a very thin size, but I mean it's also a very thin tape, so like it's gonna last a long time. But yeah, it's this weird like yellowish color.
Weird.
A little see-through.
Yeah. Saying it's see-through, I think I've seen that when I've opened up electronics before. Is that used professionally, probably?
Yeah. They'll use this instead of like electrical tape or something. Something to that effect.
Is it just better electrical tape, or is there a difference between that and your standard electrical tape?
I mean, it's also a lot thinner, so it's easier to fit in, like tight-fitting cases or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not actually sure if it really does anything differently. I don't know if it's even less conductive or what the deal is there. If it lasts longer, not sure. Once again, I don't think we stated this at the beginning of the video. I'm not an expert in any of this. This is not meant as a tutorial. This is meant for entertainment only. So don't take anything I say seriously. Just see this as what a hobbyist can figure out.
Well, and this is not a comment on your skill, but this would be the world's worst tutorial video because it would be us fucking talking for 2.5 hours with very little instructive material in between.
Yeah, I'm not even talking through what I'm doing. My webcam fucking sucks, so you can barely see what's going on anyway.
Looks pretty good right now. I don't know why.
If you're still around, thanks for hanging out.
It's focused up real nice. I can see everything.
Oh yeah, that does look better than it has.
Even your Game Boy in the corner there.
Just get a little bit over these pads as well.
Have you guys ever fucked around with the latest 3DS models? Like specifically the new 2DS XL?
No.
No, I haven't. I have the original model, and I don't know if I've even like really used any of the other models.
You have the OG 3DS?
Yep.
That's kind of wild.
I got it right after the price drop, so I missed out on all the nice ambassador stuff like Metroid Fusion and Zero Mission. That would have been nice.
Stuff that they never released, which is kind of just proof that if they have to, they can do it, but they don't want to do it, right?
But they don't want to.
John, do you have an XL or do you have a standard one too?
I have a standard one.
Interesting. I made the decision to upgrade to the 3DS XL, which was great. I love that console. I think there's tons of great games on it. It's the best
great console.
Fire Emblem machine around. So the XL is obviously just bigger. They did that with the DS, but it's just the 3DS version.
Yeah.
Then they announced the 2DS, which originally was like that weird child's toy looking thing.
Yeah.
That looked like a clamshell but wouldn't close. It was just like a open thing.
It was just a slab. Yeah.
So weird. Yeah. Talk about not portable. It's like that fucking big.
Yep.
But the last model they did was the 2DS XL, which is the 3DS XL size. It's a clamshell, and they just removed the 3D. But that's like the ultimate one if you just wanted to get the best, kind of in line with what we're doing here. I want to get the best version of Game Boy so I can play everything.
Right.
I even want to kind of upgrade to the 2DS XL. They're also getting pricey at this point.
So you're not a fan of the actual 3D element of the 3DS?
Is anybody? Does anybody like that?
Yeah, like would be a strong word. I normally do keep it on when I'm playing, but like it's not, I don't know, not all that intriguing.
So I've definitely had it. Go ahead, Keith.
It was a novelty. I think, and like I'll use it too, but I don't really use my 3DS much these days. So, I mean, it's still a bit of a novelty for me, I guess.
I've definitely had it off at least 90% of the time. I think I tried to play Ocarina of Time with it on. And I think it's cool. It's a really good example of like good 3D. You know, you don't have to wear glasses. It works pretty well. You do have to kind of, we're talking about how you have to like angle your Game Boy for sunlight. You definitely have to angle your DS for the 3D effect.
Certainly.
I think the new 3DS has better 3D though. That has better viewing angles.
I think that's true. And they added that goddamn nub. What is that? Why didn't they make it a fucking analog stick? I don't understand though.
Not enough room, I guess. Speaking of this, this B button is real tight in this shell.
I believe it also mentioned they might need to be sanded into the shells on the website.
Yeah, because
I'm
the
not
A
positive.
button, the A button is good. That doesn't get stuck like the B button is.
Oh,
See,
so
the A
they're
button
different
will fall out,
sizes.
but-
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So, guess I'll have to sand this a little bit here.
I'm gonna pop up the listing just to see if they mention anything. Prestige shells may need some trimming near the start select areas.
Oh, that's for the screen.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Boots battery cover.
There is a bit of a ridge here where like the molds might have come together or something. I wonder if that's actually the issue. So I'm gonna start with that. Sand that down.
They've tested multiple cleaning agents on the shell and they all work great. So that's good. I'm allowed to clean it. That's nice. Yeah, I mean, just looking at these websites makes me want to just branch out into a million other things. I have a Sega Game Gear, which nobody has, right? It was given to me by one of my friends, my dad's friends from work. Literally just came home with a Game Gear for me one day.
What the heck? That's awesome.
It's also how I have an in-box Power Glove, which I should have
What?
brought out for show and tell earlier. Yeah, I have I believe it's complete in-box Power Glove. The box is a little bit torn up, but it's there.
That's
It's
crazy.
awesome, dude.
So Game Gears are notoriously flawed. They have extremely bad capacitors, and it's not just like your normal bad capacitors. It's to the point where if you haven't changed them, it's like a 95% your Game Gear doesn't work at this point.
Wow.
Like if you see a used Game Gear that hasn't been modded or whatever, it does not work.
Wow.
So I had a friend actually change the capacitors, and it works. And I can play Game Gear, and I have a Shining Force Game Gear game. Shining Force is a Fire Emblem-like series. And I was really excited to play some Game Gear. Bought some Game Gear games, but the screen sucks. It's terrible.
Sucks in what way?
Really, like, fuzzy. Like, everything is screen blurred even when it's not moving, kind of. It's just bad early screen technology, similar to the Game Boy stuff we were dealing with.
Sure.
It's backlit, which is really cool. I believe it was the first handheld to be backlit, but it does the same thing where it may even be front lit. I'm not sure actually, but it's just also a nightmare to play. And they make the same kind of modded displays, which I wonder how much they are, because the ones I was looking at was like $170, but I don't know why Game Gear would be
For the
3
screen?
times as expensive. Yeah.
Wow.
Is it just because, like, I would imagine that the Game Gear modding market is even a more niche thing than the Game Boy modding market. So, like, I wonder if just, like, demand is lower, so, like, that they, you know, more expensive to make or whatever. I don't know.
Has to be it.
Yeah, it's definitely way more niche. I remember seeing, I think retro modding first, like kind of putting Game Gear on their website. They started with just doing buttons, like custom different colored buttons, and then they branched out to shells. I don't know when the screens actually came about, but I think a lot of those are actually, again, just like kind of generic screens, and then the actual control boards have to be custom. That's probably where the cost really comes in, is in designing those control PCBs.
I'll edit this into the video. John, I just shared my screen. You want to take a look at that just real quick? It's an incredible example. By the world's best website, Retro RGB. Check it out for all your retro needs. So that's
Wait, this is crazy.
Yeah, so that's Original is just the standard Game Gear. Majesco just made a version of Game Gear, so it's still just the standard Game Gear.
Sure.
And then McWill is the recommended replacement LCD.
Oh, no shit.
It's fucking crazy, right?
Wait,
So, like,
that is crazy.
That's wild.
it just actually looks like garbage, and like it looks like there's more pixels. I mean, it's probably a higher resolution, which helps out, but and the Majesco model is even worse. Sonic isn't even blue.
It's like impossible to discern what's even going on in that Majesco, like at all. Like that's so crazy.
It's just funny that these things were that fucked up from the beginning. That's a good example too. Do you see how like washed out the backlight makes the images look there?
Certainly.
And wow, now I want to do
Jeez.
this. Looking at the McWill screen mod. So
Well, yeah,
retro
you see the
modding.
screen mod. You could like how could you ever go back and play it like with a native screen after seeing like what's possible? Like this, the jump between these two is truly like unspeakably different.
So retro modding sells the McWill screen. It's $115, which is still like twice as expensive, but not terrible.
Yeah, that's honestly not terrible. Still a pretty penny for like. How often would you play your modded Game Gear?
Oh,
But-
never. I would get the mod. I would put Shining Force in, and I would be like, "Wow, this looks so good!" And then I would put it in my closet for another 6 years.
Yep.
I wonder if I can pull up a Game Boy example in the similar vein.
All right. I think this B button is good. I'm just going to rinse it off real quick. I'll be right back.
Cool, dude.
Thank you. Actually, I should just go to Retro RGB. That's the best website. It goes even in depth for like mods and stuff, but also if you just want to know the best way to hook up your console to a television, they
that's
review
cool.
all the scan converters and whatever. Super handy resource.
Yeah, I've never been here before.
Johnny, aren't you like super into retro consoles? Don't you have like 30 of them and a PVM?
Oh, Keith.
John uses emulation like a dirty, dirty boy.
Ooh, call me dirty boy again, Colin.
I thought that would do for you. You dirty, dirty boy.
Shivers up my spine, Daddy.
I don't feel good about that. Yeah.
We can edit that out. We can edit that out.
No, that's the best part. Okay. We got some buttons in.
Keaton,
Nice
can you hold that up for the camera, just like you did for the viewers? That's right. It's a happy midnight colored Game Boy Advance SP. Let's go!
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's
Beautiful thing, bro.
fucking go.
So, time to get the screen in. And question for you, Colin. I have the choice here of either using adhesive or not. And I did try a quick test fit with this fitting bracket earlier, and it seems pretty snug. I think it'll be pretty good with just that, keeping it in place. But if you're a little paranoid about it like moving around, we could use the adhesive. The only thing is getting that out in case you ever need to like work on it, make any changes or whatever. If something goes wrong, would be 10 times harder if we use adhesive.
Okay. So let's just go with the bracket.
Cool.
You're around, and in case we need to add the adhesive, we can add the
Yeah.
adhesive then. It makes more sense
Yeah.
than going all the way with it, right?
Yeah, if this was mine, that's what I would do. I would just use the bracket because it does seem pretty good. Okay.
There's another fantastic example. I don't know if you can still see the stream there, John.
Oh no, let me
Jeez.
pull it up again. Oh man.
So
Wow.
On the left there,
is like truly like unplayable kind of shit.
that's the better model. That's the AGS 101.
That's so wild, dude.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
the
the right
best
is what we're
stock
putting in here.
Game Boy Advance.
It's just like a fucking entirely different world.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. Okay. Time for the scariest part, peeling the shit off the screen.
Dun-dum. I think it's gonna go great.
It's in. I didn't touch it with my dirty, greasy fingers.
Oh, are you a dirty, dirty boy, Keaton?
Oh,
I know
I'm so
you were a
dirty.
dirty, dirty boy.
Oh, yeah. Scold me, Daddy.
You were right. This is going much better after we got past the initial shoulder button hurdle.
Right. Yeah, that was a major roadblock. Everything else is pretty simple from here on out. Let's make sure everything is in there good and tight.
You know, I didn't mind. I essentially just showed off my video collection, which I'm always down to do. That's fine for me.
Yeah, I'm glad you were there to fill that space, and it wasn't just me just awkwardly trying to get solder out of a couple fucking
And us just staring at
for
you.
an hour. Yeah.
Are you done yet, Keaton?
Hey man, how's it going? Is it good? No, it's not good. It's really not good.
I do want to mention I'm also sending. I have my sister's Game Boy Pocket that no longer works that I'm sending to Keaton to see if he can bring it back to life. And now we're getting into save battery replacements. So I'm sending him a bunch of Game Boy games to replace the save battery on.
Do you know what's wrong with the Pocket?
So these were both recovered from my parents' closets. It had been sitting there for a decade plus at this point, and it had batteries left in it. So it was a corroded mess.
Oh, okay.
I removed the batteries, I cleaned it up, and it just won't go on. And I didn't take it any further than that. I didn't pop it open or anything.
Yeah.
So maybe it's really simple, like maybe just replacing the contacts, or if you take it in a different direction, if you just buy like a rechargeable mod for it and bypass the whole system, if that would just fix it as well. But that's for Keaton to figure out, you know?
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, luckily they do sell those battery contacts. Similarly, that's, like super cheap because it's just a few simple pieces of metal.
Right.
So if it is just replacing those, that would be pretty simple too.
That's what I'm hoping. I can't think of what else would be wrong with it. It hasn't been like blunt damaged or whatever. It's just been sitting in a mostly temperature controlled house for forever.
Yeah. Yeah, if batteries are left in it, it's likely that they leaked a little bit, got corroded. How did you actually clean it?
Some light isopropyl alcohol on a
think
Q-tip.
The usual wisdom for that is to use vinegar. The acid can get some of the
I also read
corrosion off.
baking soda. Is that recommended as well?
Possibly. I'm not sure.
It's good to know, though. I don't want to potentially fuck anything up. I use isopropyl alcohol for everything.
Oh, God. Okay, before I turn it over and put the screen thing... Oh, man, I almost made a really annoying minor mistake.
Oh,
Forgot
no.
the LED diffuser thingy. It's this little tiny clear
Oh, my God.
thing that you want to put in the shell.
That is the
'cause
definition of a minor mistake that would have destroyed me as it blared in my eyes. I would have had to cover it with tape or something. That's great.
Yep. Yeah, that would have been pretty annoying because that LED, the green one when it's on, that turns red when the battery is low, is actually two different LEDs right next to each other on the motherboard.
Oh.
So the that little diffuser thing just kind of spreads that light around and makes it look not so sharp and tiny, because it is the tiniest little thing. I thought about replacing it to change the color on my white and blue one to make it blue, but then I looked at it on the motherboard and I was like, oh, fuck that, no way.
Is it a hard
Absolutely
mod to
not.
do? That's another thing that costs
I don't
like
even know.
$2 to get the LED, but if it's difficult, that doesn't seem worth it in the slightest.
Yeah, I don't even know if people actually do that. But I just took one look at what the LED actually looked like, and I was like, oh, fuck, no way. A little tiny surface mount LED. Absolutely the fuck nuts.
That's how you break shit, right? You finish the mod, you're like, oh, I'll replace this $2 LED, and then you destroy your entire Game Boy.
Yeah, or just fucking go crazy trying to soldering surface mount devices like that is fucking hard. I knocked a resistor off of my first Game Boy, my childhood Game Boy that I first modded with the AGS 101 screen, and getting a new resistor back on to replace it was such a fucking nightmare. Like, those things are not made to be hand soldered, like they do those with machines,
Right.
basically
Sounds like a
all the little tiny resistors you see here, if it would fucking focus.
There you go.
Yeah, all those little tiny things, the really small ones, those, are made to be soldered by hand or by machine, not by hand.
Are you just using a standard screwdriver? Like, are the screws or anything like that proprietary with this type of stuff?
The motherboard screws are Phillips heads.
Okay.
These are actually the screws that came with the shell, so they're all Phillips heads. But normally it is a tri-wing screw that holds the case. So to first open it up, you need that. But once you get it open, then it's just Phillips heads.
The fucking security measure. They didn't want people repairing their stuff. So the
silly.
outside's tri-wing, but because Phillips head is better, all the stuff inside is just Phillips head. Part of the internet's great though, right? I bought a screwdriver set on Amazon for $10, and it has every single tri-wing, along with every other type you would need, Torx, Phillips, flathead, all that stuff. Really useful to have. I mean, even opening Game Boy games is a special security bit.
Yeah.
It's called a game bit, right?
Yeah, I've got a couple of those here. This is from Retro Modding as well. So these two on the side are game bit drivers. It's this like weird star shape. Let me try to get this to focus.
Like a socket type thing.
Yeah, it's a little socket. So the smaller one is what the Game Boy games use, and then the bigger one is what Super Nintendo games, and actually the Super Nintendo system itself has a couple of those on it.
That's weird. So I had one that I would have bought to open up Super Nintendo cartridges, but it worked on my Game Boy games. I wonder if I was just like lucky, or if I had the second bit and I like lost the other one somehow. Not positive. You remember back in the day, John, I replaced your Final Fantasy VI save battery.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I don't know if I did it right. I tried. It went well. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember the process. After... Wait, I at one point devastatingly lost all of my Final Fantasy VI save data. I'm assuming that this was related to that, or like an attempt to prevent it from happening in the future. I don't remember.
Yeah,
This
it
was
was when
years
the three of
later.
us played that game together, and Johnny, you restarted it like 3 times because you kept losing your save data.
Well, I remember...
Yeah.
And this is classic Super Nintendo cartridges. You were getting up to go get a drink or something, and you kicked the console,
That sounds about right.
which froze it, which happens. It's no big deal. But then you turn it on, your save was fucking gone. It's like,
Yep.
holy
Yep.
shit.
Oh my god.
Yep, I remember being pretty deep into that playthrough too, and like that was my first playthrough of that game, and really, really enjoying it. But I do remember like actually finishing that game by like rebuilding my team in its entirety with an emulator. You know, I did one of those things to finish it out because I was like 25, 30 hours into the game already.
Did you do like a save editor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Just
It was-
rebuilt my
wasn't
team as
like-
close as I could.
Wasn't it like a website where you just like check all the things that you had and it builds a save for you? Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, it was something like that. So I managed to like, play it out pretty, cleanly in the end. Wish I could have done it on the cartridge itself, but
Man,
I'm assuming you replacing the save bullshit and that cartridge all came from that experience.
yeah. Well, I was just doing it, and I probably reached out to offer that for you just because I was into doing it at the time.
Heck yeah, dude.
I think I still have some of those batteries laying around. Or not the batteries, you'd have to buy like replacement sockets for the batteries to solder in. And I had a Radio Shack soldering iron. Worked
Heck
great.
yeah, dude.
Alright, just because I'm neurotic, I'm doing another test before I actually close everything up.
Batteries in the console.
Where's the switch? There's the switch. Hey.
Oh, there it is, dude.
It's fucking beautiful. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's
All
pretty
right.
fucking rad, dude.
Gonna
Give
go
it
ahead
to
and
me,
get
I
this
want it.
screen lens on here.
Pass it through the screen, bro.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
So
looking nice.
beautiful.
Let's get these bumpers and shoulder buttons on here.
And so
And the power
is the clean
switch.
juice just a pop it in situation?
It is, yeah. It's really simple. It does use some adhesive, so it's a little annoying to get it out, but you can pretty easily yank it out. I had to get mine out a couple of times because of some of the issues I had when I first put mine together. But it's pretty good adhesive. It's pretty sticky, but you can still get it off, and it's still sticky, and you can reuse it.
Oh, that's good.
It's just like some like generic 3M adhesive. Little sticky pads.
The color scheme looks awesome. I was considering that or white buttons, and I think I made the right call.
Yeah, dude, I'm
looks really
loving
nice.
this color scheme. Getting these triggers in is a little weird. They have these little metal legs on them to maintain the tension.
Yep. The 64, the Z button's like that, right?
Is it? I can't remember.
It's a little more complex, I think, but it does use that. And I know the DualShock 3 at least also uses that for the back triggers.
Okay.
Which is just amazing that it's just like a fragile piece of metal, right? And not any sophisticated technology.
Yeah. Okay. This is the point where I go through everything in my head and think, did I forget anything? And this is where I normally realize I forgot the LED diffuser, but I got that. So it is time to close this bitch up, I think.
Yeah, that's where if I was doing it, I would sit there for 40 minutes and just stare at it. And be like, you forgot something. What did you do? So yeah, we'll be opening a marketplace soon where you can buy mods from Keaton. Message us at happy midnight podcast at gmail.com. It'll be $600. Professional work guaranteed. So with the clean juice, it recommended not charging it through a wall charger. You know why that is? Is it just like an overvoltage situation?
Is that true? I did not read much about it, I guess, because I've been doing that. I haven't used mine extensively, though, so I can't really just say that it's fine. If they recommend against it, I'd say don't do that then. I've also heard that you shouldn't charge it while playing, which was a little rough. How do they actually recommend charging it, like on a PC or?
I pulled up the website here. There's also something I forgot to mention, Keaton. It's a wireless chargeable. It supports key charging.
Seriously?
Yeah. It also advertises phone share. I guess phones can key charge each other. I don't have a phone that does that. But I do have a wireless keypad that you can apparently put it on and it'll charge.
I'm trying it on mine now. I have one on my desk. Yeah, I'm knocking shit over. Mine doesn't seem to be. But yeah, when we were talking last night about the, like real ultimate shit, that was something else that crossed my mind. That pretty soon we'll have wireless charging for these. What were you gonna say?
So, just about the battery again. It says only use protected power sources and USB-C charging cables not recommended with power bricks, surge protectors, or wall outlet USB ports. That definitely just seems like a cover their own ass thing.
Yeah.
But I'll probably just plug it into my computer just to be safe with it. Supports up to 14, actually it says well over 14 hours, which is fucking crazy.
That's super great.
Yeah. All right. We don't have the clean juice in yet, but check it out, man.
Oh, it's so pretty, dude.
Mwah! Fucking
Where's-
beautiful.
There it is.
The
Oh, yeah.
ding.
Ding. Let's check the brightness.
This is gonna be fucking incredible. Do you guys hear how clicky those shoulder buttons are? Did you fucking hear that?
Oh no.
Clunka, 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 clunka.
The screen is a bit off center, actually.
Bum,
I don't know.
bum, bum.
I don't know if you're gonna be able to see over on this
It's
side.
over
there's-
to the right, too far.
Yeah. Shit.
Sometimes it bees like that, bro.
Sometimes the bees like that.
You would figure the bracket would help center it, right?
The centering bracket? Yeah, I thought that would help center it.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Interesting.
God damn it. Well.
We'll get there.
You did that on purpose, Keat. I know you did.
Guys, don't leave me. I'm so lonely.
So yeah, I'm gonna grab some coffee. I'll be back in like 30 minutes. You got this, Keaton,
Yeah.
right? You just do the whole stream here. So this handheld legend sells pre-modded GBAs, and they're charging like $300 for them.
Wow.
That's pretty pricey.
Yeah, but it's
Are they-
probably
are
worth
they-
it, right?
Like custom built order kind of thing?
They have a build to order that starts at $240, but they say one that's the ultimate modded, which sounds like they just throw everything at it for $300.
Mm.
It's probably worth it. They're also providing you a Game Boy Advance, which is like 80-ish bucks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're not cheap.
Me and Keaton were looking at too. They make IPS screens with AV out, so you could actually plug it into a television,
Yeah.
That's neat.
which seemed interesting. But I have the Game Boy player, so if I need to capture it, I'll just do it that way.
For sure.
Well, and then I've been using the Super Game Boy to capture Metroid 2, and it looks much better through my RetroTink 2X. Keaton, do you have any Game Boy Advance game suggestions that I haven't thought of? I don't know how deep into the library you are.
Not super deep, honestly. Fucked around with Advance Wars a bit. That's pretty fun.
I hate that game. I think that game is
Really?
awful.
Really?
I
I'm not a
tried
big
it.
strategy game guy, so I don't have much of a frame of reference.
So I got it because it's Intelligent Systems, the Fire Emblem people. So, you know, them doing a strategy game, I have to try it out. It's incredibly hard. There was a level I couldn't beat. You know, with my adult brain, I couldn't do it. And it was... There's, like, not enough strategy you could do with it. Like, there's, like, a weird budget system that you have to wait to like... You get funds each turn, and then you can hire units. So there wasn't, like, much you could do. Wasn't a fan. I haven't tried the second one, and then they made a DS game as well.
They're
And-
remaking them, right?
Yeah, they are.
Oh
One
my
and
god.
two on Switch.
Oh my god. Are you guys ready?
I also forgot the foam pad.
The company that is remaking Advanced Wars is the same developer as the secret developer I've been hinting to the whole time, and the
No
Supreme
way,
developer.
dude.
Ding, 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 ding.
Wow.
They're everywhere.
Crazy.
Do not look it up.
Sorry, bro.
If you saw the name, I don't think it would lead you. They're not well known.
Good.
Good series, though. This series, real good. Plays good, game's good, looks good, sounds good. Good.
Sounds good.
Sounds pretty good.
That was me fake
Yeah.
discussing the game without saying anything about it.
Looks good, sounds good, game's good.
Play well, feel good. How's the centering bracket look? Is there like a way to lock it in potentially?
Yeah, so I did just kind of miss the, there's like a ridge that's supposed to support the side of the screen that I just totally fucked up in getting it in place for that. So I mean, I'm glad I was able to open it up and see the issue. You know, it sucks when you look at it and you don't see what's going on and you're just like, what the fuck? So yeah, I'll screw the motherboard back in and then I'll check it again before I close it up.
You just hold it in there and hold it up to the camera, I'll tell you.
Sounds good. Okay. And sadly, embarrassingly, I did strip one of these screws, one of the motherboard screws.
I'll forgive you.
But
I don't screw in all my motherboard screws on my computers. It's fine.
You know what's funny? When I opened this thing up, it was already missing that one. Have you ever opened this one up before?
Not a fucking chance that anybody has ever opened that ever.
Really?
I think you may have stepped out, actually. That's my childhood Game Boy.
I did hear that. Yeah, I stepped away, but I had my wireless headphones on, so I did hear that story.
Yeah, I mean, so I bought that brand new from the store, and I gave it to my dad, and there's no chance that my dad fucking opened that up. So that is weird. Do you think it's still in warranty? I could ask Nintendo to repair that for me.
Yeah, definitely. Everything is fitting very tight in this, so I would like to get that one in, but if we can't, then you know, the I should still have, yeah, I still have the screws that were actually in it when I opened it up, but let's see, I might have actually stripped those too.
It seems like a whole flaw in the process that screws can strip. You know, it's the whole point is to be tightened and loosened.
Yep. Not more than once, apparently.
Right. When I was doing the PS2 modding, if you buy the Sony network adapter, it's metal screws, which are great and don't strip. But if you buy the third-party ones, it's literally plastic screws, which, you know, strip immediately because they're made of plastic.
Oh my god, what the fuck is that?
And then
plastic
your hard drive
screws.
Yeah, so I mean, it's third-party. It's a miracle that they exist. It's you would buy a third-party one because it accepts SATA drives natively versus IDE drives. But the pro way to go is you buy the official Sony IDE one with the metal screws, and then someone sells an adapter kit. You just open it up, change some ribbon cables around, and convert it to SATA that way. Join me for my next stream where I'll be modding a PS2. Just kidding. You stick a memory card in it, and it works, and then you're done. It's great.
Okay.
Well, and a hard
Yeah,
drive.
start and select buttons got fucked up there. The silicon pad got all mashed up under the motherboard, but that is good now. That looks good. Okay.
Yay!
Take 3. Let's get this motherboard screwed in. Goddamn.
Yeah, Keaton, I got places to go. I'm just kidding. You're the person with places to go. That's why that was funny. Okay, I'm going to take it off video game topic. Do you guys know what's happening tonight?
No, what's happening tonight?
Oh, the
Opening
season
night,
starts?
baby. Let's go.
Heck yeah,
Sixers in
that
New
basketball?
Orleans. Yep. Was that a serious question, or was that to wound me to my core?
Maybe a little both.
I'm gonna put that in my back pocket. That's fantastic. If everyone's just like talking about team, you go, "Oh, is that this sport?" Yeah, man. I was watching the Eagles the other day. Oh, is that football? I've heard about that.
Your shirt does not say Philadelphia 76ers. It says Phila on it, so...
It has a number though. Oh, but still no basketball related.
the
things.
number... Yeah,
No, yeah. You're right. Hold on. Let's check
I'm
the back
supposed to
here.
see 21 and be like, oh yeah, that's this player I don't know in this sport that I don't know.
There it is.
Well, and that's
Oh, and the NBA logo.
NBA logo.
There we go. Okay. I think we're all centered up again, but before we put a single more screw in here, let's check that. Oh yeah, that looks a lot better.
Nice and even.
Yeah. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but
Looks perfect. Looks much better.
yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. Okay. We're almost there.
And so, the screen is just bigger inherently, right, than the original screen?
No, the screen is the same size.
So it's just resolution then, I guess?
Resolution is better. It's overall just like a better LCD.
Right.
A lot clearer and brighter.
My question was related to Game Boy Color, if they would appear any larger, but I guess with the screen size being identical, that wouldn't be the case. It just, the resolution may help it look better.
Yeah, the Game Boy Color is a different story. There wasn't like a suitable LCD for the Game Boy Color for a long time. So that was kind of like the holy grail of modding was to do Game Boy Color. Wasn't really possible until recently, or it was very difficult until recently. Now we have drop-in kits. For a while, there were LCDs that were actually smaller than the original one, so you had to get a screen bezel that was like even bigger. The outside around it was even bigger.
Are
or
you
could just
fucking kidding me?
See
That
the
is-
edges of it. Yeah.
That is
So when
the
I saw that, I
largest
was like,
bezel I've ever seen in my entire life. Holy
yeah,
shit.
and it was even bigger. So when I saw that, I was like, nah, I'm good on that. But they sometime in like the last year, this Q5 LCD came
That's
around.
a bigger screen,
And
right?
it's even bigger. Yeah, this one is bigger than the original. Yeah, that's what I mean. That like, I don't think any of these are actually custom made for this purpose. They just find one that they're like, yeah, we can make this work. And like it'll fit in the case. They can just like change the bezel size. I did have to trim the shell a little bit around it to so you could actually see the whole thing. So that is a slightly more advanced mod than this. And actually,
and
to
you
get
have
this,
to trim the other one, right? Like a standard shell.
yeah, standard shell. Like if we had used your original shell for this mod, we would have had to do some cutting. But since this is an aftermarket shell and they know that you're going to put one of those LCDs in, it's pre-cut, so you don't have to do that.
Super nice. Would you just use sandpaper for that, or do you have like an actual Dremel to do more intense work?
I've got a Dremel. I've also got some of these clippers here. You can just snip it off. Combination of all three, really. Okay.
It is exciting to see it come together again. I'm still blown away.
And
You've been
here's
playing some
another
Pokemon Yellow.
What's up?
You've been playing some Pokemon Yellow. I just saw that's what you had in your color.
I did just replace that battery. I haven't actually even tested it yet. I booted it up and it's like, oh, you got to go through Professor Oak's whole thing before they let you loose and you can save. So I didn't even make it that far. I haven't played a Pokemon game in so long. Which is crazy because like the entire modding community though, like every picture that they post, they're playing Pokemon. I swear every conversation's like, hey guys, what are you playing lately? Oh, I'm playing Pokemon Fire Red. What are you playing? Oh, I'm playing Pokemon Emerald. Oh, that's cool. I prefer Crystal myself. It's just like, guys, there's so many games out there. So many games.
To drive that point home, on the Handheld Legend website, under the more retro category, there's a whole Pokemon category, and under it is something called Gold Cards, which I thought was going to be like the DS Flash cards. But I don't know what it is. It is like recreation of Pokemon cards that are gold. Like it's
is
like
that the Burger King gold cards?
These are something that
those?
I have some. I have some on eBay. Buy from my store, Redwasted324. Yeah, they came in the Pokeballs, and I had like the 3D cards as well. But this appears to be, it's the classic Gen 1 Charizard Hollow, you know, the one we all know. And it's just made of gold. Metallic Pokemon card renditions, heavyweight, durable, and it has first edition. Like, that would matter if it's a fucking reproduction. Who fucking cares?
Right.
That's really silly.
People love Pokemon.
People are weird, man.
Our weird Pokemon relationship continues on this podcast.
So I don't know if you may have noticed when I was putting these screws in. Pro tip from a total amateur. These are self-tapping screws, which means that they actually cut into the plastic when you first screw them in. The screw posts don't have the threading in them already. They're just like cylinders the size of the actual shaft of the screw. So the threads on the screw have to actually cut into it. That's why the end is actually pointed. It's not like a bolt. So when you're putting it back in, you don't want to just screw it right in, because if you cut into the plastic again and do that a few times,
you'll strip it all out, right?
Strip all the plastic out, yeah, and they can just fall out. So you get it in there, and then you slowly turn left, which is, you know, the way you normally go to loosen it, until you feel it kind of click into place, and it'll like fall in a little bit, and then you screw it in. So you're reusing those same threads.
I remember reading that on the internet one time, forgetting it entirely, and probably destroying something soon after that. Clean juice?
Clean juice, baby.
That juice is clean.
So here's the battery. It's got the 3M adhesive on either side. So we're just gonna stick that right into here. Actually, we need to pop this bad boy out. And
Can you
then
use those contacts for the Game Boy Pocket?
maybe, we'll see. And then this is gonna stick right on top, and we'll just stick this connector in right here. So that has to go like that, and then these little metal pads here will actually hit the contacts. Yeah.
Such a cool product. That seems way better than the soldering in ones, but I think
is there
it's
a
newer,
soldered
right?
in battery?
Maybe I was just misreading the other retro modding one.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think I literally just misread the other listing. I'm looking at it now. It's just dropping.
Ooh, shit. Wondering if I should turn this. No. No, I'll just do it that way. fits in there pretty nice and clean.
That's another thing they said, that the aftermarket shells support the battery packs better, which is interesting.
Oh, really? I was not aware of that either. Then just stick that on top of there. So if you need to get this out, you can. Usually this little board will stick to the battery pretty well, and you can just kind of lift it off right there, and
the battery
whole thing will come
side,
out.
right?
Yeah. And so here's the battery cover with the hole for that USB-C port. If you click the teeth into place first, that'll get down in there. So
And
here it
does
is.
the color matches perfectly? Because it almost seemed like a different product,
Yeah.
and I was kind of terrified it wouldn't be. Yeah, that's the same color.
Yeah.
Keaton,
Yeah, it's the
it's
same
beautiful.
same texture and everything too. There we go.
Wow, it's so beautiful.
All right, let's hear that ding again. Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
There
One of the
is a
all-time
little
great startup sounds.
there's a little bit of space here at the top. I'm gonna see if I can get these screws in a bit more. Got a bit of a turn there. Everything's fitting very tight on this, which isn't necessarily bad, but just makes you a little nervous trying to get everything together. But I think that looks pretty good.
Well, and I guess yeah, you showed earlier the sticker on the back there, right? I thought that was molded onto it initially.
Yeah, there are like cutouts, like little indentations in the molding.
That's nice.
And this is actually a hole right here that goes straight down into something called a trim pot, something potentiometer that you can turn. It's a little screw thing that you can use to adjust the screen brightness. I think that's something that they do in the factory. That's normally covered by the sticker and is not really supposed to be used by a normal person.
Right. That's wild, actually.
Oh, come on. Wow, this power switch is super tight. It's going to take some breaking in. Shit. I think we have a short on the L button.
Oh no.
God damn it.
Oh no.
Okay, well, still a bit of
Yeah.
troubleshooting to do, I suppose.
closing it up,
Probably
you think?
something. Yeah, there's probably just something touching where it shouldn't be. Have to open it back up again. It's a shame. I really wanted this to be all wrapped up. Do have to get going pretty soon, but I can do some troubleshooting on this later. That's kind of boring stuff anyway. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we leave it off here, or should I keep going and try to fix this here?
I think we can wrap it up here. You don't need to stress yourself out about time or anything, man. I appreciate
Cool.
the work you've done.
Absolutely, man. Happy to do it.
So that will wrap it up for us here. Part 2. We finished it. Don't let anybody tell you else differently. Thanks for joining me, John, Keaton. We'll catch you
Fun
next
hanging out,
time,
boys.
guys. Peace.
Yeah. Later.